Hospital Porter's Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV and welcome to this, the 48th reply to comments video. The video in which I reply to your comments. So I couldn't think of a more original title than that. The reason I make these videos is because I don't have time really to reply to all the comments I get by text. I've got to bear in mind I'm getting like... I get many now at the moment. My channel's pretty popular despite the shadow banning, and I get thousands of questions and comments a month. I feel obliged to reply, seeing as people take the time to put these comments on there. I don't have time to write text replies to everyone else, so I actually make this comments reply video instead. Now, you might think that's not really a very good substitute because someone wants to reply to a comment. They're not going to watch a 10-hour video to get just a reply to one comment. Well, two things I could say to that. Firstly, the comments reply videos are very long. Actually, they're not quite 10 hours, but one of them nearly reached 10 hours. It was about 9.5 hours. But you don't have to. That's not a problem for two reasons. Firstly, they're getting shorter because I'm doing them more often. I estimate that this video I'm doing now will probably be 2 to 3 hours. It's only actually just 3 weeks since the last one I did. Secondly, there's going to be a little, when I reply to a comment, I put a little comment, a template comment in reply to yours. It says, thanks for the comment, thanks for your comment. It will be answered approximately within the, and I put first, second, third, fourth or fifth hour, etc. of the upcoming comments reply video. So that basically tells you within this long video exactly where your comment is going to be answered, roughly to within an hour. So the longest you'll have to watch is an hour, and put it on when you're cooking dinner or something. And you just listen to it in the background. You don't have to look at my handsome face continuously, do you? Although it does help, doesn't it? Another reason I do these videos is I enjoy them. They are popular. They get high viewing figures. A lot of you guys I know, the viewers, you watch them all the way through. So that's another reason I do them, and that's why I'm going to continue to do them. I've done 48 so far. I expect to do another 48, hopefully. So let us go to where we were on the last video. Now, the reply I got on the last video was reply to comments 47, part 1 of 2. That's the first comment I've got to come to, and it is BZ Garson. The BBC is publicly funded, not state funded, for fuck's sake. The only funding, the state provided was free TV licenses for the over 75s. They stopped doing that last year. Get your facts right. No, BZ, that's not true. The BBC, if you look at the actual budget of the BBC, the TV license actually it covers only about half of it. I think was the actual rate. I know because I researched this. Because if you watch regular, you'll know I did an entire video on the BBC, so I had to research. I had to research an awful lot about the corporation. It is a state-owned company. It is very much bankrolled by the state. I mean, it's not the only one. There are many others. Caledonian McBrain, the ferry service. You know, a lot of them are funded by the government. But this is actually owned by the state. It's a state corporation. And David Splendid Isolation, bless him, says, it's all taxation paid by us, so you have no point. Yes, it's a TV tax. Calling it a license makes no difference to what it is. Correct, David. That's a good point. It is a form of taxation. It's the people pay for it, but it's organised by the government. The TV license is organised by the government. There is a TV license agency, which is contracted to the government. So yeah, BZ Garson replies to David's Splendid Isolation. Deflection. Ben stated the BBC was state funded. It's not. Yes, it is. Even leaving aside David's point, BZ, it is. You fail to directly address directly to address the point. Could you use proper grammar, please, BZ? Address that point. It's also not a tax. You can't filch your TV license money away in some offshore tax haven. I think you can, you know. I mean, a lot of people do it. There's a legitimate debate to be had about the TV license fee and BBC's funding model. That's a different issue from my initial comment. No, now you're deflecting, BZ. David Splendid Isolation's point was, you said it was not publicly funded. He said it was through the TV license. You said the TV license doesn't count as public funding. He says it does. He's right, you're wrong. You brought up a completely separate point here. Firstly, try not paying your TV license, see what happens. Well, I know a lot of people do that. And to be honest, actually nothing happens, really. Some idiot will come and knock on your door and say, could you please pay your TV license or I'm going to report you. They're called enforcement officers. But really, there's a 140-year backlog now in the magistrates' court, so that's not the point. Though the point is that technically it's a criminal offence. So it is the same as tax evasion in a sense. I mean, it's probably an offence within that category. David replies to BZ here. Regardless of what it's called, it's a use tax. It's a use tax in the same way that road tax is a tax. By law, you cannot use a car on a road without paying a regular fee, and you cannot use a television to watch broadcasts without paying a regular fee. The end result is the same, so your semantics are irrelevant. Correct, David. Correct. BZ, try not paying road tax for a while. You know what will happen? Now, unlike the CV licence, the police do act on this. Your car will get crushed. BZ says, call it what you want. I'm past caring. My OP is factual. The BBC is not state-funded. Do you agree on that very narrow point of fact? Oh, he's stamping his feet now. I don't care. I don't care. My OP is factual because I say it's factual. Well, no, BZ, that's not how it works, okay? David has challenged your position, and as I have. The point is that you either have a counter rebuttal to him, you've attempted to make one unsuccessfully, or you just concede the point, or you just stop posting on the thread. It's up to you. But just saying, well, it's factual because I say it's factual, is not. It is state-funded. It is state-funded. It's a state-owned and state-funded organisation. Did you watch watch my video on it? I've made a video about the BBC. It was based on a live show I did. And now here we go. This is replying to comments 47, part 1 of 2. Ben was absolutely triggered on my pro-choice comments with weak counter-arguments and some very naive counter-arguments. One being ask a couple of weak-old clump of cells for their position on abortion. What the fuck? Accompanied by and with my predicted use of childish and mocking voices. That's right, BZ, that's right. Are you making a comprehensive reply in a few days? As for you copying my post, in case I might delete it, I stand 100% by what I posted. All right. I didn't actually try to copy it, BZ. I assume you'd left it there. Firstly, I was not triggered at all. I mean, you get this idea that I don't want you posting stuff. Steve Mumbling says this. You don't want me posting. I don't want you to post things. I wish you wouldn't post. I'm going to delete your comments. You must be joking. You provide me with some excellent material, actually, for these videos. Your arguments are, I think it's a bit of low-hanging fruit. By the way, BZ, you said you were going to set up a meeting with somebody, with a lady who'd had a termination. You said you met a lady who had an abortion, and I was going to meet up with her. You haven't done that yet. You said you could do it very easily, so why haven't you? Come on, let's have you. Let's have you. I'm quite happy to talk to everybody. I should point out, BZ, this is maybe I'm nitpicking a bit here, because I included in the video March for Life, I included a discussion about my own life and about my own tragedy that occurred in my life, and you have not referred to it. Now, I should point out, I didn't make that. I didn't put that into the video out of some mawkish appeal for sympathy. I didn't. I put it into the video so just viewers like yourself, especially viewers who disagree with me, might be able to try to understand me a little bit more. I find it interesting that you have not even referred to that segment of the video at all. You have essentially placarded my position in a very Machiavellian way. That's what I'm saying. David's Blended Isolation says underneath, it's because you don't have much regard for the sanctity of human life. Okay, just to comment on what BZ said here about ask a weak-old clump of cells for their position on abortion and that, okay? I cover that argument in the video called March for Life, and BZ is replying, he's actually making a point here that I've already debunked in that video. I'll go on with data, and I'll go on now with... He's right about the childish mocking voices, though. He's wrong about the triggering. David Splendid Isolation says... It's because you don't have much regard for the sanctity of human life, as people with a higher standard do. I think a lot of people who are pro-choice, David, have sanctity for human life. They just do not understand that human life... They seem to regard human life as beginning when somebody's 9 months old. That's the only difference. Whereas I personally believe that human life begins when human life is created. Whereas the pro-choice says, no, you're not human, you're subhuman. And when you hit 9 months... And that's when you become human. That's when you have all human rights, and that's when I do regard you as sanctity. So in that respect, it's not so much. It's not. I don't think it's malice on the part of pro-choice people. It's not malice. I think it is. It is cognitive dissonance and a blinkered attitude on the universe. I think. David goes on. Later in life, most women come to heavily regret the decision to kill their offspring growing inside them as they realise it was their own flesh and blood. Yeah, this is what they don't. David, I mean, I think I referred to this in the video. I know that many of the speakers at the conference before the march were saying this. The number of women who go through this, they essentially enter into it thinking there's nothing wrong, and they're told everything around them, everyone's around them, all their feminist co-workers tell them, no, go for it, it's fine, shout your abortion, it's absolutely, it's like having a tooth out, it's nothing. They have it, and only afterwards do they realise what's going on, when they're left alone, and once the job's done, and all the chivying and chasing and the poking and prodding, but the mental poking and prodding by their so-called friends goes away. Then the realization hits them, and it's a terrible thing. It causes a lot of suffering for women. Yeah. Most of the time, their unborn are sacrificed on the altar of personal convenience. Yeah. In a society that encourages selfish behaviour instead of responsible commitment. Absolutely, David. Yeah. Not to mention a hugely profitable abortion industry and their enablers that encourages and champions this selfish behaviour in women. Your attitude is obviously trendy today, but of slowly low standard. Correct, David, I couldn't have put it better myself. There's also there's scandals, when you talk about the industry, there's scandals involving the fact that the embryos and fetuses that are killed in abortions are sometimes used. They're sometimes used in science as essentially human guinea pigs. I've got nothing against that per se, but if you know, it would be ethical. It's not unethical for someone to say or put in their will, when I die, can I leave my body to medical science? My granddad did that, and they did. Well, they had a funeral for him, but there was no burial or cremation. There's nothing. But this is a baby. This is a baby that can't make that decision, and the parents don't make that decision either. You know, if a child dies of natural causes and can't make a decision for themselves, hasn't written a will, sometimes the parents will say, leave the body for medical science. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. However, in this case, this is done without the consent of the parents. BZ Garson replies, your first sentence sets the moral high ground and your sanctimonious tone for the rest of your post. Not an argument. Rhetoric, no logic there, BZ. Are you going to bring up some logic here? You also finished on a zinger of a judgment of my character without knowing anything about me. Well, David and I both know that you believe, for example, that you say things like weak old clump of cells, the women's rights. Oh, Ben, would you stand in front of a woman who had an abortion and said that? You know, things like that. So I think we can gather an awful lot from here. We can. You've made several ethical propositions in terms of ethical philosophy. David has countered them, and now you've got to. I know you may be angry with David doing that, and David used harsh words there, but anyway, he carries on. A zinger of a judgment of my character without knowing anything about me. Stop being so self-impressed. I will edit my opening post in response to Ben's replies. Until then, I'm not prepared to discuss it anymore in pudding sub-thread replies. Okay, we'll discuss it any way you like, BZ. If you want to edit the post, that's fine. I don't stop people doing that. You have edited it, I see. So maybe David was actually replying to something you never said, which I haven't seen. I don't know. David Smith jumps in. Plenty of people need a kidney to live, Dave. Are you offering up yours for the taking? No. Then wind your neck in, you condescending cretin. Oh, BZ, do you want, David's Splendid Isolation, do you want me to delete that comment? Because that's very rude. Okay. Well, I don't know what you mean about kidney to live, having a kidney to live, Dave. I mean, David, I'm talking to David Smith now. I suppose you're talking about organ donations. Now, organ donations, are you offering yours up for the taking? Well, maybe David's Splendid Isolation carries a donor card. Maybe he does. Maybe he's on the organ donor registry. Maybe he is not. I don't know. But what's that got to do with abortion? Because the two things are entirely separate. One is a decision a person makes in life for what will happen after their death. So it's like a kind of will. In the same way you might leave your house or your car to your children after you die, you may leave part of your body to be used, either your whole body to be used in medical research, or one or all of your organs, or some of your organs to be used to help someone else live, or to improve the quality of life of someone else. People who donate their organs, I think, it's a great thing they do. I mean, there's people who will donate organs during life as well. If it's an organ, like, for example, you donate one kidney while you're alive and just live on the other one. I know people who've done that. It's supposed to be only close relatives are allowed to do that, but I know close friends have sometimes done that. That's a good thing, but what's that got to do with abortion? David Smith then says underneath to BZ Garson, David, I think that's David's SI, is ultra-religious fanatic. Okay. David Smith, can I call you just Smith? All right. Mr. Smith, just to tell you apart. Mr. Smith, David has particular religious views. And I know this because I've discussed with David in other places. I often talk to him in other fora on other platforms. He does have strong religious views, some of which I don't agree with. Fanatic, though, I think is too strong a word to use for him. He's much less of a fanatic than probably most churchgoers. Mr. Smith carries on. He refuses to accept facts and evidence. No, actually, he's presenting facts and evidence. He's presenting. Well, it's not a logical case we're dealing with here. It's an ethical. It's not logic. It's ethics. But ethics is like logic. It has various propositions, axioms, rebuttals, things like that. Due to his blind obedience and sheep-like mentality to his religious indoctrination. You make it sound like he's in Jonestown or something. The fact these people go against aborting, yet fail to support those lives in almost every way after they're born, shows the hypocrisy of their beliefs. What? They're against abortion, but then fail to support those lives in almost every way after they're born? I think Christians actually are not. Christians run a lot of charities and things like that. Mr. Smith carries on. When does the combination of cells become a baby exactly? Now we're coming to finally a logical proposition. They often can't answer, and when they do, it's typically absurd. Well, that was my point, Mr. Smith. What are you saying? They're quite happy to force women to give birth, but everything after that is of little concern. What? You start talking about, firstly, repeating a point I made and a question that I proposed, of whose answer I'd like you to give me. I'd like you to tell me exactly where you draw the line in your case. I can answer that, but then you say, what, after that there was little concern? No. The suffering that comes from unwanted pregnancies is something they choose to ignore, focusing only on their twisted vision of morality. Now, I know some Christians, you could actually make a point, Mr. Smith, that some Christians are, in a sense, counterproductive because they both oppose abortion and they oppose contraception. That is bad. I mean, unwanted pregnancies do cause suffering, enormous suffering, and they're best avoided through prevention, through contraception, which I 100% support. The solution, though, when it happens, the way to solve the problem, if you can't prevent it, is not just to kill the baby. That's what we're saying. Now, then it's a bit awkward, though, when people, I know some Roman Catholics, for example, will oppose contraception. I think it's changed slightly. As much of Catholics don't now. But some Orthodox Roman Catholics will oppose contraception and abortion. So they'll say, firstly, you can't use contraception to try and prevent unwanted pregnancies. Then when you have one, you can't kill the baby. I mean, I agree with the second part, but not with the first. You can actually help mothers, Catholics and other people who oppose contraceptions. You can help here by supporting contraception. Supporting contraception is it's the absolute best way of preventing abortion. It really is. In fact, if contraception was used properly by everybody all the time, you wouldn't need abortions because there would be no unwanted pregnancies. Anyway, twisted version of morality. Well, I'll let David Splendid Isolation answer that one. And he finishes with, people like David can't be trusted with a potato gun, let alone abortion rights. Well, I don't know exactly what a potato gun is. So, I know there's a character in Bottom called Spud Gun. He's played by the guy who plays a porter in Casualty or Holby City. Can't remember that. I think I remember the name of the actor. Big chubby guy. Frank Triggs says on reply to comments 47, part 2 of 2. Hi Ben, regarding the last comment you replied to, I did a live stream test yesterday. My first live after getting brave with some libations, lol. And the old mindset Howl crew turned up. It was a crazy night. Oh, nice one, Frank. I'm glad. Punches, Couches, Crazy John, Percy Pineda, Tony L from Port Talbot, Exploring with Carl, Melissa, Jones Paranormal all turned up. When Percy turned up, it was the icing on the cake. It wasn't planned, it just happened. The stars aligned, the magic happened. Next live will be better planned than scheduled, and not go on for almost 9 hours. Oh, cheers, Frank. Have I subbed to you? Because I will, have I subbed? Yes, I have. Oh, great. Oh, it's 11 hours, Friday Night Howl. Yes, I see you. Well, if you ever want me to join you, just let me know. I'd love to. You know what things I like to talk about, and you have an almost 12-hour unplanned live chat here. Oh my God, I can't promise to stay on the whole time, but do let me know. Do let me know. Tim the Pigeon Master says underneath, start a new Chan Frank, call it Biden-Setian TV. That's good. Oh, God bless Gareth. He must be looking down on us and smiling. Reply to comments 47 part 2 of 2. The white race was created by the Anunnaki breeding with humans. The Anunnaki provided us with agriculture, writing, organized cities and religion. All right, that's you've been reading Sitchin, haven't you? Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting idea actually. That there was the origins of humanity. The fact, as I've said before, there's things about us which indicate we don't have a lineage from primates on Earth, other primates such as you look at chimps and gorillas and how different they are, even though we share a common ancestor just 5 million years ago, yet how we're so different. You say the white race. I mean, I don't think, from what I've seen, it appears to be all humans. I don't think the white race is any different really in that respect, except the white race came about because of the geographical distribution of people reached a point where we needed different colour skins, because the different other aspects as well, like lighter coloured eyes, different kinds of hair, because we were exposed to less sunshine. There was less sunshine in the temperate and polar regions of the Earth. As a result, our skins became paler, our eyes became paler, our hair became less curly and things like that. It's interesting. It probably happened. It may well have happened tens of thousands of years ago, as we moved across the Earth. Here we go. Reply to comments 47, part 1 of 2. Hugo Rune. Excuse my deleted comments. I'm having mental problems. And David Smith says, "Aren't we all?" underneath. Hugo, I don't think you're joking. You have actually. I've noticed actually. You have said one thing. You seem to forget it, and you say another thing. I hope you're right. I know I'm planning to interview you at a certain point on HPANWO Radio, and I just hope you're okay. Let me know how you are, Hugo. And I wish you all the best, of course. Same video. Vitaly Klamino says, "Hi Ben, it's Ray, the Birmingham group. You did a talk on Annesley Hall, Nottingham." Oh yes, I know you now, Vitaly. Yes, you are. I know who you are, Ray. Yeah. Strange enough, you're a woman. Vitaly's a boy's name, but okay, I'll remember who you are, though. I will remember. Same video, TCN. Both of them. TCN is the crafty nihilist, Ben. Yeah, I realise that now, yes. I feel like you're not crediting us when we're being hilarious anymore. Oh, dear. I will not make that mistake again. Both Stephen, Liz, Mark and Liz, definitely. Promise you that. And we have a same video, reply to comments 47, part 1 of 2. Charles from Project Camelot says, "Oh my God, that's the first comment from Steve mumbling. That deserves to be carved in stone and taught to generations millennia in the future. That has to be one of the most mumbling-ish of the mumblings that has ever been mumbled. Jolly bloody good show." All right. I can't see the comment you mean. I think the mumbler has actually deleted it. But not to worry. Anyway, Steve Mumbling replies underneath, "Blimey, Charles, do you have a timestamp for that one?" And Steve says, "Oh, right, okay, I see. Sorry, it's actually on the video. I get it now. It's actually 1500. Let's have a look. Let's have a listen to this. It'd be funny. Couldn't make it today, actually. He probably wouldn't be allowed." Steve Mumbling. It started already. Reply to comments 46. "We live in very different worlds, Ben. I know, Steve. I don't work for 2 to 3 hours a day." Yes, we've been through this one. I know, all right. I've replied to that one. That's the one, yeah. Prince Philip Death live stream. I remember this one, yeah. Gardening Channel says, "You were right in the end." Well, he died, of course, yeah. He did finally pop off. Go to that great reptile house in the sky. I do just wondered if possibly he died earlier. And it was kept quiet because they didn't want him. They didn't want his death announced too close to Stephen Hawking, because otherwise that would be otherwise it would be bad. Because, well, as I said, people would be much sadder about Hawking than they would be about him. Trump in Britain banned. The Gardening Channel said Trump was just taking orders like any other world leaders. No, he wasn't. Gardening Channel. And Prince Charles from Project Camelot says, "From whom?" Well, and most world leaders I know take their orders from your organisation, Charles, don't they? But not Trump, no. Same video, Gardening Channel. "Both did nothing to stop the agenda. They're agents of New World Order, slaves of Satan." Not true, Gardening Channel, not true. Oh, so it's Boris and Trump. Sorry, not the Trump in Britain. No, it's two videos. Sorry, the first one was Trump in Britain, then it was Boris and Trump banned. Both did nothing to stop the agenda. Actually, Trump did. Boris hasn't. Boris, unfortunately, as I've explained in various videos now, he has betrayed his populist mandate. And he's decided to just sneak back seamlessly into the elite, which is a terrible mistake on his part, and one which he will regret. I hope it's not too late for him to come back to the light, actually. It's not too late. Like Darth Vader, you know, he can be redeemed, even if it seems like he can't. He's gone too far. Stephen Truthseeker says on reply to comments 47, part 1 of 2. "Oh, I was trying to be nice. I can tell from your reaction you don't want to be bothered with me. I only blocked you on Facebook because you did that video about me. I'll leave you be then. Goodbye." Stephen, what on earth are you talking about? I know you're trying to be nice, and I responded to you politely. I responded to you because I thought I just said thank you for unblocking me. You blocked me on Facebook because I did a video about you. I've never done a video about you, I don't think. I mean, could you tell me which video it was? I mean, I've always been respectful to you, and I've tried to. I think what was it? Oh, maybe you could remind me because I've forgotten. Was it something to do with the homeless people? You didn't like my attitude to homeless people, I think. I think that was it. Well, I'm sorry. That's what I think. If you don't like that, it's up to you. It's up to you whether you feel you can interact with me. If you don't, then I can't stop you. Unboxing Honest. I love doing this. This is a good film. Gardening Channel said this must be an old video because it's in a different flat. It's not actually. It's actually just over there. Literally, I've got one camera angle is this one, and I've got another camera angle. The camera's basically where I am, facing to my right, and there's the seat where Brussels is and everything. So it's not a flat. It's a little room. It's a little room in a flat. Yeah. Reply to comments 47, part 1 of 2. Hugo Rune. Ben, quite simply, I want you to change your hat. What's wrong with British? What hat? What hat was I wearing? What's wrong with British? Nothing's wrong with British. Oh, is this because it says New York City on there or something? I have worn this hat actually for the last few videos. I will get another one, Hugo. I do have some British hats, of course. Being a Brexiteer, I'll put one of those on. Unboxing Honest. The Gardening Channel says, "Look at that little green man behind you. Oh, that is Russell, my alien pal, my inflatable alien buddy. Yes, I won't tell you what I do with him, but he's very, very useful. Put it that way. He keeps me keeps the loneliness at bay. Reply to comments 47, part 2 of 2. Hugo says, forgive me, a few beers. Why do you promote New York City with your headgear? Why not a titfer? All right, I'm not promoting it. This was, believe it or not, this was actually a gift from Peter Robbins before he fell out with me. I met up with him in the Scottish UFO Paranormal Conference. It was the last time we met, and he gave me this. He gave me the one grey, one red. A titfer. Now, a titfer is actually Cockney rhyming slang. It's a tit for tat hat. But is it a particular type of hat? It's like a bowler hat. Let's have a look. Hang on. What's a titfer? Titfer hat. Here we go. Titfer. Oh, classic hat shop. It's titfer. It's Cockney rhyming slang. Tit for tat hat. Yep. From the late 19th century, subsequently considered a titfer around. Let's have a look what a titfer. It is actually. It seems to be a type of hat. And yes, it is. It's kind of it's got a broad brim, a kind of felt hat with a broad brim. Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, it looks. I don't know if it would suit me actually. They're a bit old-fashioned now. You see them in old movies, Humphrey Bogart and people like that, and Lionel Stander, and these kinds of people. They wear them, but it make me look a bit anachronistic. But maybe that'd be cool. I could be like. Yeah, it could be like Robert E. Howard, you know. He looks cool with one of those on. Reply to comments 47, part 2 of 2. Hugo Rune again says, sorry, Ben, but I cannot agree with your idea that aliens created humans. 420-ish. No way, we are apes. All right, well, look at this way. Hugo, you've got to ask yourself, well, this was on Rich Planet, actually. Why is it that we, for example, we don't have any body hair? Apart from our heads, we don't have any hair, or in a couple of places. We don't normally have any. We have very thin hair. Our skin is more like the skin of a pig. It has subcutaneous fat. Our nostrils point downwards. Some people say it's rather, we're almost like an aquatic creature. The fact we could hold our breath. Do you know that apes and monkeys can't hold their breath? If you ever see like a chimpanzee he's fording a river, they will do it very, very carefully to avoid slipping in and getting their head underwater, because they can't hold their breath. And their airway will flood immediately because their nostrils point forward. So any monkey any ape or a chimp, for example, who falls into deep water will probably drown unless it can get out very quickly. But humans, of course, we can hold our breath. Our nose forms a natural diving bell-like shape to trap a pocket of air in our airways. There's several other things as well in which we are similar to aquatic animals. There's a whole list of them. Richard D. Hall and Andrew Johnson talk about it on one of their videos, which indicates that either we are possibly an aquatic species or there is some genetic engineering in us. I mean, I do recommend you look at the legends across the world, wherever you go, that humans were created as a slave race by an extraterrestrial species. Okay, we have like a long thread here, of which I have put in some. I've put in some actual replies, some text replies. Steve Bumlick says, and deleted again. See what I might mean about your ilk perpetrating the truth embargo, Ben? The last thing you want people to see is the truth and facts. And I just said, I don't know what to say to this, but this is absurd. I protest my innocence, and I just say to Steve won't have any of it. And I have an argument with Steve Bumlick. BZ jumps in. And then Steve BZ Garson actually mentions one case which I did delete a comment. I did delete a comment. I can't remember who it's from, but it was rude. It was very rude. I think it might be one of Steve's. So I did, and then he starts going on about free speech, which I've tackled before, and then blah de blah de blah, and I explain it was gratuitously rude and aggressive, directed at a new commenter. It's not a breach of free speech. If Steve rephrases the comment in a more civil manner and posts it again, I'll leave it be. I said that here. Then BZ starts saying I'm a hypocrite, etc. Blah-de, blah-de, blah. And again, this is a text argument I have with BZ. And BZ says I'll just carry on literally from when the text argument ends, because it's very tiresome. It's what I've been through before. I'm not going to read all these comments out. I'll just start from where BZ starts. You're wriggling about, mate. It won't wash. You are a 100% a free speech absolutist, quote unquote. That means if that means anything and everything is permissible, well, everything within the definition of free speech as well. The things that aren't, it doesn't mean every single thing anyone says is permissible. As we have debated before, things such as threats and things like that, and fire in a crowded theatre, things like that. There are things that people can't say: slander, fraud, fraudulent language, things like that. Okay, but that's separate from the free speech issue. As I've explained, I believe every opinion is permissible, unconditionally. BZ carries. As I said previously, caveats and excuses don't remotely come into it. I'm not making any caveats or excuses. True free speech absolutists regard the freedom of expression as sacrosanct. Well, does that mean if someone new starts posting on my channel, Steve Mumbling moves in and starts calling them names, you think that comes under free speech, do you? You think because of free speech, I've got to let him bully a new member, a new commenter, somebody I don't know how vulnerable they are. Now, in my case, I'm a big ugly ex-hospital porter. Steve can say whatever he likes to me. If he posted that comment at me, I wouldn't have cared. I'd have given him as good as I get. But for all we know, this could be the vicar's daughter or someone sitting in her bedroom, and Steve Mumbling moves in on her without introducing himself and starts mouthing off at her. Now, I said to him, it's not a free speech issue. If Steve if he rephrases his comment, his point, and posts it again in reply to her, I will not delete it. So stop. You are twisting the issue now to try and claim that me objecting to that and acting against it is a breach of free speech. It's nonsense. It's not. It's not true. And he says, even if it offends, or let me put it away, especially if it offends. No, you see, it's the difference is if you call, for example, there's a difference, for example, between if you make a comment, for example, about a racial issue, and someone finds it offensive. But then that is their problem because it's a free speech issue. But if someone goes up to that same person and and calls them names, including racial slurs, it's not a free speech issue. It's essentially it's a form of violence. Do you see what I mean? Do you not understand the difference between these two things, BZ? I'm afraid Liberace's just started up. He's been quiet for ages, I think he's been away on holiday. I haven't heard him for a couple of weeks. He's just started again. Your reason for deleting Steve's post in the context of being 100% free speech absolutist is a betrayal of your supposed cast iron beliefs. It's utter hypocrisy. For the record, I'm not a free speech absolutist. Okay, firstly, it's not a betrayal at all. I know you're not a free speech absolutist, BZ. As we've discussed, and I think you're wrong. But the thing is, you may well be, because I don't, come to think of it, because I don't think you understand what free speech is. I don't think you understand the issue, the definition of it, and the various ethical and logical positions associated with it, because you keep saying you're against free speech and you give examples, and these have nothing to do with free speech. David Smith says to me, I'm siding with you on this one, Ben. Whoa, hallelujah, praise the Lord. I think Steve can sometimes be a bit nasty in his comments when he doesn't need to be to get his points across. So I think sometimes deleting comments may be a sensible idea, but I'm also not in favour of completely free speech. If it's damaging, then it needs either a direct response, or if it can't be responded to before the damage is done, then it may need removal. All right, I think you're right there, yeah, and I appreciate your support, David. You do seem to have a sense of fair play in this game. You're not like some of these other skeptics. Some skeptics just join the comments threads here, and they take whatever position is against me, regardless of what it is, even if it's self-contradictory within their own worldview. They just do it because they're against me. But you're not. You do have a sense of justice, which I think BZ lacks. But as far as being not in favour of completely free speech, if it's damaging, now damaging speech again, it depends what you mean. Could you give me an example here? Because damaging, for example, if you say, well, someone expresses an opinion which is controversial and it's damaging because people get upset by this controversy, in which case I would disagree with you and I'd say, no, it's a free speech issue. The person has a right to say it. If the people don't like it, people who don't like shouldn't listen to it. They should block the person. They should not be in their vicinity. On the other hand, if you mean by damaging speech, you mean the person is inciting violence against another person or group of people, or saying lies about a certain person in order to misrepresent them to others, or saying something untrue for the purposes of extracting money, saying handing them some polo mints and saying this will cure your flat feet, things like that. That's fraud. In which case that is damaging speech, which again would need to be removed. Yeah, but that's not a free speech issue, as I tried to explain to BZ. And David says to Steve, "You've got to be nicer, Steve." Well, Steve, what do you reckon? I will not be nicer. I'm sorry, I'll let him speak for himself. And Charles says, "Nah, it's fine. Are you trying to kill us all? It's a robust rivalry that can never be harmonized. It's like the never-ending stories, the never-ending song that will destroy the world if it ever stops being sung by Trappist monks. If Steve and Ben ever ended their interactions, the balance of creation itself would collapse, and there would be only void." I think it's true, Charles. Really, Steve and we're like Atlas. We're holding the world up on our collective shoulders. It's true. I mean, Steve Mumlin can say, I think, almost anything he wants to me that doesn't break the law, and he does. And I'm happy to I can give him as good as I get. What I'm concerned is that sometimes he uses the kind of tone he uses with me, why people who are far less robust than I am, or might be. This is a person I didn't know. So if someone new joins this conversation, I think you should treat them as if they were like the vicar's daughter sitting in her bedroom. I think you should, until you know what kind of person they are. Reply to comments 47 part 2 of 2. Gary Robinson. Hey Gary, how's it going in Mexico? That interview I was telling you about, in which they asked me my views on abortion, was for a charity, but I can't remember which charity. But I do remember they had a very nice old-fashioned offices. Oh, right. They do sometimes do opinion things like this, And Gary says in the same video here, "I'm not sure if you've seen the news articles in the UK this week about the Haitian migrants camped under a bridge in Mexico while they wait to be processed for entry to the USA. The bridge they are under is a 10-minute walk from my house here in the north of Mexico." Yes, I have, Gary. I've heard about it. It's not far from the border, Mexico's good. Mexico's a good place. There's some good Mexican YouTubers, actually. You know that The Darkest Secret is a woman who does paranormal. She does like paranormal videos, ghost videos and stuff like that. Very, very good videos they are. She gets hold of some really good material. She's Mexican, I think. Our city has come to a bit of a standstill, as there are around 14,000 of them right now, and the buses and coaches keep on coming. I know. I've heard about this. I think there's something's going on in Haiti right now. I think it's because there's been some kind of... I know the president was assassinated, wasn't he? And this has resulted in some kind of... I can't remember what it was, but I should pay more attention to these things, shouldn't I? Haiti crisis. Anyway, Haiti crisis 2021. Haiti earthquake. Oh, has there been an earthquake? Yeah, oh yeah, that's it. That explains it. A 7.2 earthquake struck the Tiburon Peninsula in Haiti. Ah, right. It's very close to some big cities. 2,000 plus people killed, many more homeless. 137,000 buildings damaged. 650,000 people. Yeah, that's now homeless. Yeah, that's probably it, Gary. Yeah. Anyway, I'll carry on here. I mean, I don't believe the solution is to move them into the... You know what I think of immigration. I'm very sorry when these things happen. It's terrible for those people, but moving them into another country is not the solution. 14,000... The buses and coaches keep on coming. Our city is very small, and the city across the border in the USA that they're hoping to enter has a population of just 35,000 people. We had a border patrol and military helicopters and planes circling overhead since they first arrived on Friday, and the border is now closed, which means that people can't get to school and or work, etc. Yeah, I mean, I know that there is actually, contrary to popular belief, I know there is regular travel between the two countries, and in fact, it's the most crossed border in the world, I believe, and just in terms of legal travel, and that many people do live on one side, work on the other, and they have family on one side and family on the other, etc. I'm starting to get a little stressed, as we have now been told there is a risk of them rioting, as the US Border Patrol simply don't have the resources to process them quickly, which is understandable given the amount of people. We are now being told that many of them are carrying various diseases, and the majority are men of fighting age. Oh, that's familiar, David, isn't it? It's Gary. Yeah, that's familiar, Gary. Yeah. Honestly, Ben, mate, the world has gone mad. A bit off topic, but I figured you'd be interested. Pride and dignity, brother. Pride and dignity, brother, Gary. Gary, yes, I am. And I'm very sorry you're in that predicament. I really am. The solution is basically to provide aid to Haiti, provide all the aid necessary to travel, to send everything that's needed to Haiti to repair the damage done by that earthquake, and give the people everything they need in terms of temporary accommodation, food, clean water, sanitation, medical care, things like that. As much as possible, I think it's necessary to keep them in their country of origin and provide the aid in the country of origin. Obviously, this has not happened, and they've done the usual thing. They simply shipped them over to Mexico. The answer is, I think what if the Mexican government has any sense, and I know you're British, and I don't know what your status is, whether you're a citizen now, or a naturalised citizen, or whether you got a green card or anything. The solution now, if you can write to your local MP or go and visit the president, and if they've got time to speak to some gringo with strange ideas, but just say provide as much care for you as you can, but there has to be a way of providing care for them with the objective of repairing the damage in their country and then returning those people as soon as possible to their country of origin. It's the best thing. It would solve the problems of your city, and it's the kindest and the most helpful thing to do for them as well. It really is. Reply to comments 47 part 1. Oh, Bob, good luck, Gary. Good luck. I wish you all the best. Reply to comments 47 part 1 of 2. Francisco Zubaran says, is there going to be a mega tsunami due to the collapse of the Canary Islands? It will be the next 9/11. Do a live stream. Francisco, I did. I took your advice. It wasn't just you. A lot of people wrote to me asking me to cover this in a live stream. I think Diego Rivera was the one that I actually saw first. And I did a live stream. It'll be worse than 9/11 if that happens. As I explained, it would devastate the entire eastern coast of North America. You're looking about devastation up to 2 or 3 miles inland. If people didn't get out very quickly, they could have only a few hours' notice. They'd be drowned. From what I've seen, it's probably not going to happen. There's no signs at the moment. There's going to be a landslide, a mega tsunami at the Canaries, but it does happen. It actually happens regularly. It's happened not in geological times. It happened not long ago. I think it was about 12,000 years. Before that, it did happen. I think 50,000 years before then. So it's a regular thing. There's no sign at the moment the volcano is going to cause that. But do watch the live stream, Francisco. The recording's there. TCN says on 47.1 of 2, YouTube just doesn't delete truth links. Seems most links. Yeah, TCN, it does. If you put links in, it's more likely to go to the spam folder. Now, I will look at the spam folder and approve it, as I just have done just now. I did find some spam there by Charles, and I approved it. But it's links that usually get things spam folded, yeah. Steve Mumbling says, at least you recognise truth links when you see them. Yes, we do, Steve. And the crafties do as well, I'm sure. Right, notice Alt Tech exclusive, Worldwide Rally for Safety. Yeah, this is, and nothing that seems says looking forward to it. And I will pop over to Odyssey and BitChute later on in the video, and I'll go through the comments there. This, of course, refers to a video that I have not uploaded to YouTube and never will, because it would last about 5 minutes. Saxland says, I love the elite. Oh, right, Sax, do you? Oh, brilliant. Well, you know, I do too. You know, that's what I said in the video. Fauci, you know, Bill Gates, they're such heroes, as you'll see if you watch the video, called Worldwide Rally for Safety. Yeah. Same video, Israel Diego Rivera 2, Genius 2, The Real Genius says, do not comply. No to the V-word passports. No to mandatory V-words. No to masks. No to tests. A total disgrace. Say no to tyranny. Utter disgrace. Say no to this tyranny. Absolutely, Diego Rivera. Yeah. And I then have, in the same video, Diego Rivera actually suggests, this is the first comment I saw, do a live stream on the Canary Island volcanoes. It could cause a mega tsunami. Is it the next 9/11? Ben W says underneath, no it won't, and no it won't. Yeah, from what I've gathered, I don't think it will. Unless, of course, as I suggested, they set one off. I mean, you'd probably need a number of nuclear, very large, powerful nuclear bombs underground. If anyone sees anyone like digging into the ground and with like mine shafts or something, it could be that. But they'll think of something else if it's not this. I mean, I said I wouldn't rule out the fake alien invasion. And I explained the island could produce a landslide and giant tsunami. It did before about 12,000 years ago. Ben W says, I'm sorry, Ben, but it won't. There's plenty of stuff out there telling you why, and it won't. Plus, yesterday on the radio, there was a volcanologist who was out in the island studying the volcano, talking about the eruption, and explained it all, including why this is false and where the story came from in the first place. Was interesting. Yeah, Ben W, I've actually looked into it since then, as you know. If you've watched the live stream recording or you were watching live, and you know I actually understand that now. Yes, I've looked into it and I realise that now. And he carries on. The eruption has spread unfounded fears on social media of a mega tsunami hurtling towards US shores. But Dave Petley, a landslide expert at the University of Sheffield, told National Geographic there is almost no chance of this happening. National Geographic cited a 2015 study in which scientists found the most severe flank collapse of the volcano could cause no more than a 6-foot tsunami along western Atlantic coastlines. Well, that is debatable. I've seen other people who disagree with that. However, yeah, I think there seems to be little to zero chance of it happening right now as a result of this current eruption. However, there is a 100% chance at some point it will happen again. It probably will not happen for a number of millennia, but it will happen at some point in the future. It could be 5,000. It'd probably be more than a few thousand years, but it could be like 10. It could be 100,000 years, but sometime it will happen. So it does happen. It is an unstable volcanic. I forgot what the word is. I think they call it a scatter. Is it a scatter cone or something? The geologists call it. I don't know. Donald Montgomery says. He's posted a link here, something champion. What's this? It's a link which says, oh right, okay, let's get rid of that. It is for what's the word? I think it's something inappropriate. I think I better delete that comment actually, because no doubt YouTube will blame me for it. All right, Sonara's Astrid. Hey Sonara, how are you? On the Notice Vault Tech live stream. Haha, great music. Thanks, Sinara. The artist is called Vans in Japan. I've used them a couple of times in my videos. I hope you enjoyed the video, Sinara. You know where it is. I can't post a link. Okay, Charles Scott now says, Charles says, whether you realise it or not, it is Charles from Project Camelot that is stitching you up because it saddens me you can't work out there is no need for a tribunal or hear Charles from Project Camelot's side of the story, or that it is complicated because you've already acknowledged his repeated slanderous claim is proven to be false because of the evidence presented in the screenshots. Well, from what Charles, I don't know why you think it's not necessary to hear the other Charles's point of view, the side of the story. I mean, no need for a tribunal. Why? I mean, have you ever done jury service? You're essentially saying, like, for example, if you could go into the jury and say, well, can we please dismiss this case and just and have a summary conviction or summary acquittal? We don't need a trial. You never say that. So yes, it is necessary. I think this more than anything else actually requires some kind of tribunal, because you see, I must admit I don't completely understand. I know that the stuff that Charles claimed was wrong, but in a sense this is between you and him. So I think in order to get a more objective view of the situation, I think we do need some kind of tribunal. And Charles carries on here. By requiring a tribunal, suggests you question whether or not you're correct with your personal acknowledgement his slanderous claim is proven to be false, which I find perplexing and illogical. Or perhaps you are changing the goalpost because you don't want to condemn him, as it's obvious from your recent reply to your comments video you are amicable towards Charles from Project Camelot. Yeah, I don't want to condemn him, Charles. I don't. Especially because his motivation seems to be more as a result of a conflict with you than a general attempt to deceive. If I thought that he was specifically trying to deceive me because of feelings of malice towards me, I'd say very differently. But you see, I get this all the time, mate. Charles, I get this all the time. Someone falls out with someone else and they expect me to take their side. I get this a lot. I had, as you know, that from a previous video, I had. Well, it's not a secret because she posted it publicly. Deborah Hatswell didn't actually turned against me. I mean, we apologised. We sort of made up later on, and we're on good terms now. But she resented me being friendly towards somebody she herself has had a very bitter feud with. And I told her in no uncertain terms that this is between you. You know, you can't. It's not fair to expect third parties to do that when they're not involved. Charles Scott carries on. Furthermore, you don't require the evidence of the screenshot because someone with basic maths can verify the formulae and calculations I used in the UFO Truth magazine reference, and are not gibberish, by locating the formulae on the internet and checking my calculations are correct, which incidentally, where appropriate, corroborate with the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies PDF file calculations. If you disagree, then I know without question you are 100% incorrect, and therefore I have to question the validity of anything you say. Now, I don't dispute that. But you say what do you say? You say someone with basic math skills can verify the formulae and calculations. Okay, believe it or not, Charles, what you've just done is you presented a case. You presented a case, and you say I don't require evidence of screenshots. Well, you've just presented a case which could be presented to a tribunal. Someone with basic math skills could act as a witness. And he carries on here. This matter is not only between Charles from Project Camelot and myself, it's between you, Gary Heseltine, and UFO Truth magazine. I really don't think it could be defined as that unless Charles if he was more widespread in his attempt to discredit the material you provided, and he hasn't been really. He's only really said it in his interactions with you. Your personal acknowledgement that Charles from Project Camelot repeated a slanderous claim proven to be false is sufficient grounds without the need for a tribunal for you to personally condemn him for such defamation that has brought our reputation into disrepute. So will you join me in condemning Charles from Project Camelot? No, I won't. I won't until this, again, I won't condemn him for this, for the reasons I've explained. Or will you continue to show undeserved respect to Charles from Project Camelot on what amounts to disrespect towards Gary Haseltine, myself, yourself, and UFO Truth magazine? It's going to be the former, and I don't think what I'm doing amounts to disrespect towards you or Gary or myself and UFO Truth. I don't think it does. It's not like a sustained attack by Charles from Project Camelot. Okay. Now you're starting to do this. So you're starting to corral me, Charles Scott, into a position where you're expecting me to take your, this is a matter of personal dispute where you expect people to fall into line behind you. And I've been in this position many times before, and I'm not going to do it. So if you don't like that, then I'm afraid that's too bad. Okay, I just blame because I don't want to fall out with you either. I get on well with you. I like your contributions. You've actually been you've been a very good analyst on the pro UFO side. But I'm not going to be nudged and manipulated in this way. And if you don't like that, if you choose to fall out with me as a result, so be it. Because you are starting to sound a bit manipulative. You really are. 47 Part 2, TCN. We're only on this one, Ben. We changed the name, not the channel. Liz and Mark had an upgrade. 40 years too late. Oh, you are. Okay. It's your channel still, is it? All right, here we go. Right. One of two. Checkpoint. Ben, if you're in regular touch with the Cape or Green team, And the reason there is no release date is fear of another lockdown. How come I know the release date is the 28th of December? I don't know. Is it on their website? Is it the 28th of December? That's not... Oh, maybe it's on IMDb. Let's have a look. Hang on. That could be what's on IMDb. Because, yeah, they did have a release date for it on IMDb. Here we go. Yep, 28th of December 2021. All right, well, that's the stated release date they have at the moment. However, there's been... Okay, it's an hour over now. Checkpoint, I think... I don't know how much I can actually tell you at this point. It's a little bit private, but that might not be when the film first appears. I hope it is, but it might not be. I can't tell you more than that, but I am in touch with people on the inside, and as soon as I can give you more information, I will. Anyway, thanks for joining me for an hour. We'll now I'll take a little break, and I'll be back for you next second, for me probably in 5 minutes. Okay, I'm back, and as Liberace tickles the ivories upstairs and provides a little bit of a musical background. It sort of works a bit, doesn't it? It's like incidental music in a movie score. It's kind of you can suggest it's kind of like that for my video, but it's free. And we will now return to the comments. Our 9/11 20th anniversary live stream. The Dag Jab says, I was listening to an excellent discussion with Mark Conlon and Andrew Johnson, where they discuss all the anomalies of the World Trade Center planes and flight record data, which showed that none of the flights took off that day, but were possibly either grounded or redirected, or what were possibly either grounded or redirected elsewhere. Mark also goes on to talk about the hologram planes theory, not, in my opinion, not a theory, because I'm pretty sure that is what happened, and Dr. Judy Wood's work. Fascinating stuff. Mark in particular knows his stuff. I think he even puts Richard D. Hall to shame with the amount of research he's done into 9/11. But one thing I don't get, I'll just say Mark Conlon, I have to agree, is very, very interesting. And I haven't seen this video, and I'd like to. So I don't know where. Is it on Andrew Johnson's channel? It's not on Rich Planet, but I'd like to see some more of that, because I'm sure that'll be a very interesting discussion. And he carries on here. But one thing I don't get is, when Building 7 was reported to have come down by the BBC, brackets, why the BBC announced it and not an American news channel, close brackets, how did the BBC manage to get to New York so soon after the event? It's as if they were already in New York at the time, even the day after one of the ITN reporters, James Mays or something or other, was there in New York reporting back to Trevor McDonald. How did they get over to the USA so quickly? Well, the answer to that is they have correspondents in the area at all times. They have like local correspondents, and this is why whenever they do a report, you see one of these people there, and it just says, "This is our correspondent for so and so country," and they'll be interviewed. And Jane Stanley happened to be the one for the United States, or that part of the United States. But what else did he say? So that is basically why it was. Now, why the BBC announced it and not an American news channel, I don't know. I do think probably it's odd that the BBC got it first. Again, this flows of information probably may have been an error in the script, dare I say. But thanks for that, Dag Jab, and I'll check out the video you said. 47 part 1 of 2. Dr. Keith says, can you comment on Miles Johnston's recent arrest with regard to rape allegation? Also, there have been rumours circulating for years about Johnston stealing from vulnerable old ladies. Do you have an opinion? I won't divulge private conversations I've had with Miles. As you know, Miles and I are close personal friends, and I speak with him privately on this. You know that he made an announcement, probably one which he shouldn't have made at that point, that he had been arrested on suspicion and been investigated with regard to a rape allegation. All I can say is that nothing more has been done publicly about this event, about this particular incident. In my view, it is a false allegation. I think that the fact that Miles is still walking the streets, he hasn't been charged, he hasn't been arrested again, he hasn't been interviewed again, says it all. I personally think that he should not have said anything publicly at that point. He didn't need to. unless he was charged. He wouldn't have any need to have any explaining to do, because simply that there are people who don't like him. There are people who are very cruel to him, actually, and they've also been cruel to me, mostly because I won't join in their little hate campaigns against Miles, and I won't sort of run away from him the way lots of other people have done because of this, and so they tend to target me in the same way. They will take this information from Miles, and they will distort it, they will run with it, they'll misrepresent it, they'll portray it in the most ungenerous way possible just to condemn him. As for stealing from vulnerable old ladies, do I have an opinion on that? I've never even heard of anything like that, Dr. Keith. I think if so, then it's not true. BZ Garson says underneath to that, is this really true, or is it an internet rumour? What Miles says is true. However, I believe it's a false allegation, as I've said. I've only seen one report of this, and it's from a woman who despises him. Well, it's probably one of the people actually who I've blocked, because there's a large number of people who despise Miles, and most of them are against me as well. And they're obviously going to interpret this, as I said, in the most ungenerous way possible. There was a screenshot of an admission by Johnston that he was being questioned, but these are easily faked. No, it was true. It was true, BZ. Was he arrested and questioned? Yes, he was. Was he arrested or questioned? There's a big difference. He had both, yeah. But he says here, if he was arrested, he would most likely be in prison on remand. It's very rare to be granted bail if charged with rape. He hasn't been charged. He's been arrested and questioned. He's not been rearrested. He's not been interviewed again. This is probably an indication the police are not going to take any further action, which is their way of saying you did nothing wrong. It would also have been reported on one of the local online news outlets. Yeah, if Miles had been charged, he would not be allowed out to wander the streets. No, he would not. And it would certainly be in the news. Yes, it would. But this, you see, it was true that he was arrested and questioned, but he has not been charged. The only reason anyone knows about this is because Miles chose to tell us himself. BZ continues. Does he live in the UK? Yes, he does. He lives in Wiltshire. Do you have an authoritative link to any information? Miles himself. And I myself, as I said, personally talked to Miles about this. I think that basically this whole thing is just one more act of attempted defamation. I can't stand the bloke, but I detest BS. If this turns out to be the case, well, I'm glad you think so, BZ. You know, because there's a lot of people don't like Miles, but they're just saying, well, I don't care if it's true or not. It's against Miles, so they're going to endorse it. They're going to say it whether it's true or not. At least I'm glad to hear you have a slightly more judicious attitude, and if you think it's not true, you're not going to say it. So I appreciate that. That's to your credit. Well done. Notice of Alt-Tech exclusive. Sunshine Dragon says, I thought you might find this almost alien abduction interesting. What's that? Oh, right. An almost alien abduction. What's this?
Introducing
SanDisk Professional. Bloody ads. There's a skip button. I wouldn't watch if there was a skip button. All right, here we go.
Hey guys, it's Dutch.
Oh, it's Duchess Divinity. Yeah, I know Duchess Divinity. Right, you are. It's 13 minutes long. I'll have a watch of that. I know Duchess Divinity, and I'll just because I know she does have contact experiences, so I'll be interested to hear what she has to say. 47 part 1 of 2. Ed Kayla says, it's interesting you mentioned Hello. My dad was at school with Hair Flick. Oh right, the actor. I forgot the name of the actor. He's very funny. Hair Flick. I remember he met him a few years ago at a school reunion. I asked him to sign some stuff from my mother's friend, who was a fanatical Hello fan. He was happy to. Nice guy, apparently. Right, I can't remember the name of the actor, but he's a very good actor, playing a really good character in a great sitcom. It's really good. It's very politically incorrect. You probably couldn't make it nowadays because of political correctness, you know. But it's just a shame. As I said, it's killed comedy, isn't it? You know, all the funniest things. It's like I talked in the last video about Airplane, about the two jive talkers. Yeah, it's one of the funniest things in that entire movie, and it would have to be struck out today. You would have to make that film without those hilarious characters. 47 part 1 and 2, Ed Kaler again. Would you support a theocracy form of government in Britain if it was a UFO religion? Okay. No, I wouldn't, Ed. I mean, UFO religions tend to be absolutely outrageous. There's the classic ones, of course. There's two classic ones, the most popular, which is the Aetherius Society. I know some people who are in the Aetherius Society, and they're lovely people. One's a guy I know very well who speaks regularly at Probe. He's one of the leading figures in the society, but their ideas make no sense at all to me. Another is the Raelians, who are actually, I think they're a somewhat darker, more sinister organisation than the Aetherius Society. Again, I've looked at their founding principles and their ideas, and it's a weird kind of blend of New Age and sort of like gods from the sky type stuff. It's really a kind of cargo cult. It really is. And UFOs are very interesting things. Of course, there was a spiritual element to some alien contact, but the idea that the ideas proposed in these various UFO religions is nonsense. And I would not want any of those in charge of this country. Ed Kaler says on 47 part 2 of 2, do you believe in the ancient Aryans, Ben? Well, there's by Aryans you mean like the blonde-haired, blue-eyed aliens? Yes, I do. Some of the aliens are seen today with those kinds of appearances. They look basically humanoid, but they tend to have very pale skin, huge eyes, bright blue, and with bright blonde hair, sort of exaggerated Nordic features they have. Yes, they're real, and I think they've been interacting with us for a long time. Oddly enough, the Zulus of southern Africa encountered these creatures long before white people from Europe ever came to Africa. BZ Garson says in reply to Ed Kaler, are those the ones who voted for Brexit? BZ Garson says funny. The aliens unfortunately don't have the right. They can. The aliens, if they're a member of some kind of coalition in space, and they may decide to vote for the independence of their planet, then that's good on them. But it's really up to them. Right, so we have Checkpoint here on 9/11 20th anniversary. SEAL Team 6 is not mentioned in the US Navy SEALs Wikipedia page because SEAL Team 6 was disbanded in 1987, since it's been used as a nickname for the United States Naval Special Warfare Development Group, DevGRU. As of writing, it has 1,787 personnel. When you hear members of SEAL Team 6 have died, be it in a car crash, parachuting accident, etc., it does not automatically follow that they were SEALs. Read more. Okay. Who took part in Operation Neptune Spear. None of the servicemen who were killed on August the 6th, 2011, when their helicopter was shot down, took part in the operation to kill bin Laden. The identities of the about 24 men who carried out the covert operation to kill Osama bin Laden will never be known to the public. All that is except for Robert O'Neill. In an anonymous February 2013 interview, O'Neill told Esquire that he had killed Osama bin Laden during Operation Neptune Spear. O'Neill's name was leaked by other former Special Forces personnel who were protesting his violation of a code of silence that forbids them from publicly taking credit for their actions. You have no clue if any of the SEAL Team 6 members took part in Operation Neptune Spear, are alive or dead, apart from O'Neill, that is. I never pretended I did. Checkpoint. Now, I did look into this, and it's absolutely what you said about the real nature of SEAL Team 6 is correct. However, the rest of what you said sounds a bit like backfilling. And not by you, but by the media. Because it actually contradicts kind of what was said earlier in earlier broadcasts. Now, if you don't know what I mean, backfilling is the introduction of propaganda and deception, disinformation, which appears to have been there before whatever you're disinforming about happened. So, for example, it's summed up by George Orwell, Oceania is at war with East Asia. Eurasia are our allies and always have been our allies. The always have been is backfilling. Now, I never said, you see, it's interesting you say that none of the people, you contradict yourself actually, you say none of the servicemen who were killed in the 6th of August helicopter crash took part in Operation Neptune Spear. You say none of them did, but in the same post you also say that they will not be known. Their names will never be known, apart from Robert O'Neill. That's a contradiction. So how do you know that none of them who were killed in a helicopter crash didn't take part in it if the names are not known? So that's a contradiction. If their names are not known, you wouldn't know whether or not the personnel killed in the helicopter crash were the ones who killed bin Laden or not. Nor do I. What I'm commenting on is the odd coincidences associated with this event. The fact that a certain number of special forces operatives in a particular unit, whatever you choose to call it, died in seemingly independent incidents. As I said, there was the helicopter that took. I think like a large number of men were killed in that helicopter crash. Interesting, the father of one of those men does think there was a conspiracy to blow up that helicopter. He names I think he's wrong when he names the culprits. He says it was basically the Al Qaeda infiltrators of the Afghan National Army who did it. I think he needs to look somewhere else for the perpetrators. But he accepts that there was a conspiracy to kill his son and all his fellow soldiers. There's the car crash. I said the parachute incident. I mean, it's just these things could just be a statistical blip, and I've never pretended there's absolute proof here that there is some kind of conspiracy. I've never said that these are definitely the guys who took part in the operation to supposedly kill bin Laden. But I just think it is a statistical anomaly that needs to be explained, especially when you consider the other strange anomalies to do with bin Laden's supposed death. For example, the guy who was interviewed that I talked about, the interview I saw on BBC News, about the guy who said that bin Laden the body would be taken back to the States for at least a week. Said the body was supposedly disposed of at sea as soon as it was over. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And these are the issues. This is the point I'm trying to make. I'm not trying to make the point you think I'm making here. And that is what needs to be explained. 47.2 of 2 checkpoints says, Ben was the demonstrator only whacking you with... Right, okay. Was the demonstrator only whacking you with a rolled-up leaflet or punching you? You've claimed both. It seems you recall things differently to suit your situation. He was whacking me with a rolled-up pamphlet or something. I mean, did I use the word punch? I don't know. I mean... When did I say that? Did I say someone was punching me? I can't remember. Anyway. BZ said, oh, he's all over the shop. I think he claimed he was assaulted. Well, is that not assault? I mean, it was fully filmed. I had my camera there. There's the bloke standing to my left, yelling in my ear and whacking me with a rolled up. That is assault. I said to him, not assault me. It's a minor assault, but it's still an assault. Ben can handle word salad comments because he can give word salad responses. Pin him down on detail and he gets flustered, hence his inane responses. Oh, DBZ, I don't think that's true at all. I think I am addressing the details that you put in. The thing is, you don't put many details in your comments. The details are sort of like wrapped in a massive packaging of rhetoric and your own kind of silly, inane comments. David Smith says in reply to BZ, to be fair, human memory is flaky at best. True, but you know, all you guys do remember it was filmed. It's in the video, the one that was banned from YouTube. You can still get it. It's on all the other platforms. So the camera doesn't lie. I'm currently experiencing something similar with the he said, they said situation. I guess the difference is Ben says things on camera that can be checked. But as one gets older, the memory does get worse quite often. Also, as one gets older, the memory does get worse quite often. I'm currently experiencing something similar. I know. It seems Hugo Roon was a bit like that, David. Yeah. I hope he's all right, and I hope you get over yours, David. BZ says to David Smith, I see what you did there. Very good. I just said very good. Don't you start, BZ, honestly. I hope it's not catching. 47.2 BZ says, bloody hell. He's got me in his head. I never posted bugger all. That long post about V-words and viruses. Ben ends his response by name-checking me after reading it. What? It was posted by John Smith. He name-checks me again for the same post at 54:54. Apologies forthcoming, please, Mr. Jones. What on earth are you talking about, BZ? What are you talking about? To be the ones who are the most obedient and the most NPC-like. Whereas the people who are going to be left behind are going to be the rebels. I mean... It does seem a bit contradictory. I don't know what the answer is to that. What are you talking about, BZ? Oh, right. I said, okay, something was posted by John Smith, and I said you by mistake. Apologies forthcoming, please, Mr. Jones. All right, I'm sorry, BZ. It's not the crime of the century, BZ. I just got you mixed up with someone else, that's all. I said you when I meant someone else. David Splendid Isolation says, more like you're obsessed. You don't have to be here. You don't have to watch or keep coming back, but you can't help yourself. SMH. Well, exactly. Yeah, he is. He's like Steve Mumbling. Yeah. BZ says to David, mate, I think you need to revisit the dictionary definition of obsessed. I posted 2 comments out of a grand total of 16. One to correct a factual error, wrongly attributes the post to me. All right, well, I stand corrected, BZ. T'other, a response to Ben's comment on my initial post, why am I here? The same reason as you. David Smith says underneath, I am obsessed with Ben. I can't stop thinking about him. Must make everything I say wrong. David Splendid Isolation, Logic 101. I know you all are, aren't you? You're all obsessed. 47.2. Blimey, what a dog's dinner of a reply to my long post on section 230. I'm Perry Mason now. Ben is showing his age. He mangled out his own interpretation of S230, yet still failed to explain what he meant by signing 230. I did explain why I used that term, BZ. I just said it because of semantics, that's all. You know the point I was making is corollary to that. By the way, anything by Bob Woodward is worth reading. Ever heard of the Watergate scandal? Yes, Woodward and Bernstein, yeah. And it says it was Woodward and Bernstein that investigated and uncovered it. They were investigative journalists who worked for the Washington Post. I doubt Woodward's book about Trump is going to be particularly flattering. He fucking hates him. All right, I've not read Woodward's book about Trump. I've heard about it. I know it's called the unauthorized biography or something. But Woodward and Bernstein actually did, when they uncovered what they did. It's interesting that before it was formally recognized by history, it was, by definition, a conspiracy theory, and Woodward and Bernstein were conspiracy theorists. BZ carries on. Also, I never copy and paste anything, mate. One exception being the exact wording of any legislation I post in order to support my position. Duly noted, BZ. Okay. Ed Kaler says on 47.2 of 2. Good stream. Thanks, Ed. It actually wasn't a stream. It was a recording, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. March for Life. Miles Lawler says here, hey, Miles. Nice to see you again. I thought for a minute, God, that's Miles Power. But Miles, he spells it with a Y. Miles with a Y. Miles Power is this other guy. I've actually spoken to him. He's a skeptic, but he's quite a nice skeptic. I've had debates with him, you know. Ben is back on top form. Was I ever off it, Miles? This reportage reminds me of the golden years of HPANWO pre-2020 for obvious reasons. And a scoop of an interview at 16:55 to boot. Many viewers will not appreciate the effort that goes into such real, gritty, on-the-ground investigative journalism like this. Many thanks, and God bless you, Ben. Oh, God bless you too, Miles. You're getting a love heart for that. Yeah, that was David Curtin. Yes, I suddenly found myself walking next to David Curtin, so I interviewed him. I didn't plan that. He just appeared. It was great. He's a mayoral candidate. He's the mayoral candidate and a member of the London Assembly. And he's a guy I really admire. He's a really sensible, sort of based black, as they call them. Really, he loves the country, and he loves tradition. He wants to protect the people from all the horrible things being done by the globalists. And a strength to his arm, I think. I hope he becomes mayor one day. Notice of Tech exclusive worldwide rally for safety. Dr. Keith, how many books have you sold? Did you draw the illustrations? I've heard you're quite handy with the old crayons. Oh, right. Dr. Keith, how many books have I sold? Well, I'd have to check. I'd have to go and check what the audits are. And I don't actually know. I get sent statements every so often, and they send me money for sales. But what happens is the printers are now keeping running sales records, so I can go and check those, but I'd have to note them down myself. There are no illustrations in the actual book. It's just text only. There is a cover illustration, which you may have known. I designed the cover myself, but the cover illustrations are done by an artist called Annette Lemaire. I do credit her on the cover, and they're very good, I think. I think she did a good job there. She actually didn't. She didn't charge me. Interestingly, she didn't charge any money. She just wanted to be credited on the cover, and I did. I think they seem to fit the tone of the books very well indeed, I think. Okay, Charles takes a walk through town, part 2 of 2. Bloody hell, this is an old one. Totus Toos said, "This is hilarious, right down to the stick of rhubarb falling out of your haversack in true surrealist style." Did it? Oh, dearie me. Oh, I remember that was in Derby. I just been to see, I think I'd just been to this, not the 9 o'clock news, or not the 6 o'clock news it was called. That's Richard D. Hall, Andrew Johnson, and, what was it? I think it was the Star Child Skull guy. What's his name? I hate it when I can't remember names. I'm just fed up with it. I have to look these things up. Lloyd Pye. Well, I can't remember these bloody names. Lloyd Pye, yeah. It was those three. It's this video. You can see the video online. It's a very good show. La Palma volcano live streamed. Carl Helsby said, "A Spanish news reporter says La Palma's streets are full of cracks. I'm sure they're full of boats. I'm sure they're full of boats. But yeah, the streets are. I noticed there are cracks in the ground from the earthquakes. They call them a swarm. The word they used in the geology is swarm. There was a swarm of earthquakes in the area, and it has done some damage to the street and to buildings." Same video, TK. "What if they, quote unquote, don't exist? What then? Would you even dare to speculate?" Well, firstly, if they don't exist, it means you are seeing a smoke without fire, basically. I would actually have to ask myself, well, where is the smoke coming? And I would dare to speculate, well, where is the smoke coming from? If it's not they, then if they're not a they, to quote it's Mel Gibson, Jerry Fletcher, the character in Richard Donner's conspiracy theory film, yeah, which is quite good actually. Oh, he's a they, he's a them. Yeah. Lisa Croy Freedom, hey Lisa, how you doing? La Palma volcano live stream. It's a rare sighting to see a white stag in the wild, so when people see such a creature, they interpret the sighting as omens of vital importance and signs of tremendous change. In Christian art, like the mythical white unicorn, the white stag represents Christ. Sometimes the white stag wears a golden crown and chain, both of which are emblems of Christ's suffering for all humanity. Some ancient stories about the white stag suggest that any hunters in pursuit of the miraculous deer know not to kill the creature. Instead, the white stag leads the hunters on a merry chase and adventure. The hunters follow the stag through the thick forest, while the stag, leaping and bounding over any obstacles, shows them the safest way through the woods. And Bluebeam says underneath, "The Great Brexit Reset." I don't know what Bluebeam means. Lisa's referring to this incident that happened in Liverpool last week. A white stag was seen in the city, and the police killed it. Now, why they did that and the reason, the tremendous symbolism and of this horrible thing they did is complicated. Lisa covers it in great detail on her channel, on her Cry Freedom show. I also bring this up on my recent interview with Thomas Barden-Rees. If there will be a link, I'm actually posting a link to that on her HPANWO voice later. Probably it'll be up by the time you've watched this video. And of course, it's on his channel and it's on my social media links already. But we discuss in detail what that means, the whole thing about the white stag. I don't have time to talk about it now, but it's a very, very significant thing that happened there. Very significant indeed. La Palma volcano says here, I must have brought it up. I must have brought it up during this live stream. I can't remember. Frank Triggs. The white stag appearing in Merseyside is an omen. The Celts believed that the white stag would appear when one was transgressing a taboo. Arthurian legend states, one sec, that the creature has a perennial ability to evade capture, and that the pursuit of the animal represents mankind's spiritual quest. It also signalled that the time was high for the knights of the kingdom to pursue a quest. That's certainly true, isn't it? It's very rare, only a handful of sightings in the past 50 years. I believe it's a sign for us to combat the evil attempting to gain control. It certainly is, Frank. I'm giving you a love heart, mate. I really am. And Lisa. It certainly is. I must have actually brought it up in the live stream, but I don't remember. La Palma Volcano live stream. Checkpoint says, it's not a lack of lorry drivers. There's 70,000 HGV drivers in the UK not driving. It has to do with Brexit and wages. First the Polish came and undercut the British drivers, then the Romanians came and undercut the Polish drivers. Now nobody's coming out and 70,000 drivers won't drive because the money's shit. Well, that's what didn't I say that? I think I said that, Checkpoint. In fact, I was quoting Reverend Simon Sideways, who is a lorry driver. David Smith says, I would add to those 70,000 HGV drivers, probably aren't just lazing around doing sweet FA. What was it? Hang on. I'm just lazing around doing sweet FA. So if the pay was... Hang on a sec, hang on. What's happening here? So if the pay was to improve and they left their current jobs, it would be 70,000 jobs in other areas that require filling. The labour market is like that, but the labour market adjusts, David Smith. It does. Checkpoint says, other areas, not just one area, and those two would have to increase wages to try and keep people. Wage competition to entice workers to work for employers is good for the working man, yeah. Believe it or not, I got a pay rise today, totally out of the blue, and directly related to them trying to keep me working for them. Everyone in full-time employment getting a fair wage can't be bad. Yes, indeed. I mean, this is the thing. Whenever you have like a surplus of posts in a workforce, there will be a gravitational pooling in the highest paid jobs, which is the basic problem we have here. Reverend Simon Sideways said that, so you guys are saying this, and I agree with you. David Smith says, congrats, still on the minimum wage myself, lol. Well, David, yeah, not for much. Well, you see, not for much longer. What's going to happen is that, this happened with portering. This is why portering is so cosmopolitan, because they didn't raise the portering wages. As a result, British workers would, I know so many people like. Firstly, I don't know anyone who didn't enjoy hospital portering. Everybody who does hospital portering loves it. I've never met anyone who said, "Oh, I was a porter and I hated it." No, they even like doctors and that who said they were porters when they were students. They did like 2 months of portering, and other people who did 2 months of portering when they were students in their holidays. They tell me, it really changed my life. It really changed my life. I've never forgotten it. It's the reason people leave hospital portering is because of the low pay. And as I said, in this situation, whenever there's a large number of posts, a lot of vacancies, not enough people to fill them, what do you do? Because as I said, the people will pool like water. The workforce will pool towards the highest paid jobs, and then you have to fill them in with foreign labour, cheap foreign labour, which is what they've done. Dag Jab says on the Palma Volcano live stream, I don't know why people are talking about Richard D. Hall in a negative way. He's done some fantastic research into various subjects, at least to do with fabricated terror. His research into the Manchester Arena attack, I agree with him on that and many others. The only thing I didn't like is when I emailed him a few years ago, I haven't bothered since, and he blocked me from emailing me after I'd emailed him a few times to ask him about certain topics which he didn't reply. But the last email I sent, which was just after his Richie Edwards show, my email bounced back, which probably means he blocked me. I really cannot be doing that for absolutely no reason. Same happened last time I emailed Mark Devlin. I can't be asked for people like that. I don't go trolling anyone if they're thinking that. No, I mean, yeah, it's unfortunately like he does that. I mean, I've had similar experiences with him. So does other people. My answer is, if it is actually, it's a contemptuous thing to do. I mean, he probably gets a large amount of correspondence, but just to block someone because they're writing to him is wrong. I mean, I would offer to meet up with him, Dagjab. I would just say, look, if you've got a problem with me, meet up with me. Let's talk about it face to face, like two gentlemen, and not like a whiny internet bitch, which is what he's being. So that's the thing to do. I mean, he's always as nice as pie to everybody at his live shows. I mean, he'll never be aggressive with people in his live shows. He just does it online. And I know there's too many people who do that sort of thing. As for Mark Devlin, did Mark Devlin block you? I don't know. I mean, Jab, I don't know the content of the material you were sending. So if I should have asked actually, as long as you're sending polite, diplomatic things, there's no reason for them to block your email. But I mean, as for people talking about Richard D. Hall in a negative way, I don't think I do that. Except I don't really do that, short of actually giving him legitimate criticism, which I know he doesn't like, and I know a lot of people don't like because they're scared of him, because he has a reputation for being intimidating. And so a lot of people interpret when you disagree with him as some kind of negativity, because you know you're going to get a negative response from him. I'm not scared of him. I'm not intimidated by him at all. I defy him. And you say he's done some fantastic research into various areas, and yes, he has. In fact, I think the Manchester Arena attack, I was really on the fence with that until I saw his video, and now I'm completely in line. I think he's absolutely proved his point with all that evidence. What you could do, what I've done, I suggest, Stag, and just say to him, look, Richard, let's meet up and sort it out. If you've got a problem with me, don't say anything online. Meet up with me. Let's have a little. I have to be careful what I say for legal reasons. Let's have a little man-to-man discussion in a public area with witnesses present about the problems you have with me. Because I'm like Jab. This kind of internet bitching, I can't bear it. I get it from everybody. And with Richard D. Hall doing this, it's indicating he's just a part of this shill culture, and it's disreputable for his sake, I think. So good luck with that. La Palma volcano live stream. David's blended isolation. It wasn't global warming, but yes, it's regular rainfall filling up the caldera of the volcano, which has led to increased instability. This is seen as eventually causing the landslide on the island's western flank. Really, so, I mean, I know it can create sinkholes and things like that, but really, I mean, I'm not a geologist. It could be that that's the case, but your rainfall, simply increased rainfall, undermining the fault is, which causes the landslide. It may do, but considering we're dealing with something that only happens about 2 or 3 times every million years, how much will it accelerate the process, David? Just rainfall. Besides which, you know what I think about global warming and climate change. You also know that patterns of rainfall do change over different areas. They're having a bit of a problem in some of the large cities in the Middle East at the moment, actually, because it's some of the driest regions of the Middle East, say on the Arabian Peninsula, you get very large cities such as Riyadh, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, etc. They're having a problem because rainfall has increased over the last 30 years, and a lot of things that were weren't treated for rust and stuff like that now are rusting, things like that. So rainfall patterns change, but it's nothing to do with climate change. Diego Rivera says, it was global warming. I have my video evidence on my channel. Oh, right, so this is Diego Rivera's channel, which I do watch from time to time. Oh, right, he's got Meteor Asteroid Update. Oh, my God. Oh, there's a lot about Meteor Asteroid. Oh, my goodness me. Here we go. The Cumbre Vieja volcano. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, the Cumbre Vieja volcano. It's a 12-minute video. I won't watch it now, Diego Rivera, but I'll check it out. Okay, the moon landings. A third reply to Steve mumbling. Goodness, this is my third and last reply, I think. Marcus Allen definitely told the Interplanetary Society he only doubts the photographic record, not the Apollo landings. Here's a short clip of him doing just that in the question and answer session. Nothing to do with any surrogate moon programs. Look, I think I've been through this checkpoint. Let's have a look. Is this the same video?
But I just quickly, rather than hogging this, I just like saying.
Okay, this is Gin Skin Pivot. Oh, look, I think we've been through this. Have I watched this? I think I've watched this video. It's a 10-minute video. Checkpoint. Could you put a timestamp for the relevant point, because I think I've seen it and I think I've been through it. And someone has shown me the video of Marcus supposedly saying this, and he doesn't say it. He doesn't say what people think he says. All right, look, I'll leave that. It's in my history. I will go back and check it out. But it'd be helpful if you could put in a timestamp for a 10-minute video. Right, new video of the Aldborough platform. The Aldeburgh platform. Aldeburgh. Gary Robinson. How on earth do they expect people to take long coach rides without using the toilet? Well, in terms of the X5, it's only about 2.5 hours or so. I mean, it's doable. But I think if it was going all the way to Cambridge, then yeah, it'd be a bit longer. But anyway, I think it's annoyed me that they shut the toilet off. There didn't seem to be any reason for it other than they changed the route and this was now technically a bus, not a coach. Well, does that mean they can't leave the toilet open? I mean, it's ridiculous. The world has really gone mad, mate. It's almost like you were allowed to have the things you had before, but in lower quality format. I'm guessing you no longer have to wear masks in the UK. Yeah, I mean, it's almost like you're allowed to have what you have before, but a lower quality format. Yeah, it's rather like a kind of world gone mad thing, or nothing works anymore, as Brian Garish puts it. Here in Mexico, the mask religion is still in full swing, and there are no exceptions. Oh, yeah, there are lots of countries that are still clinging on to it, aren't they? People wear them in their cars when they're driving alone. Yeah. And I've even seen people walking in the desert, hours from any other people, wearing a mask and a visor in dangerous heat. Yeah, that to me is bizarre, Gary, and that's completely illogical. Even if you swallow everything about the C word, why would you wear a mask when you're just on your own, with no one for miles and more out? It's just crazy, isn't it? Lemsip says here, there used to be toilets on coaches. Much prefer the train. They are still on most coaches, Lemsip. I know National Express still has them. I do not like the train, as you know, as I've explained many times. The train is stressful. It's more expensive. I mean, I do always get the coach where possible. Sometimes I have to get the train. In the case of Truth Seekers North East, someone offered me to get the train. And of course, the train is a lot quicker. The Alderbrook platform. Totus2 says, only in England. Yeah, yes. And Gary Robinson says, I miss the English weather. Oh, Gary, you know, you can have it, mate. You can have it. It was a lovely day, but, you know, it would have been nicer if it was... It would have been nicer if the weather had been better. But, you know, in England, what we do in England is we just never let anything stop us. We just never let anything stop us. We just keep going. The Alderbrook platform, Gary Robinson. I just left 2 comments here on here. Ben and one has been deleted. I'm guessing that it's YouTube. Yes, I haven't deleted any of your comments, Gary. It's even been removed from my comments history. My other comment was about pages not being accessible and how Richard D. Hall has the same problem. If you try to look him up via one of the popular VPN services. Yeah, Gary, try again, or just can you email it to me? Because that's weird, because I haven't deleted it. I've not deleted it. I'd be interested to hear what you have to say. Same video, Richard Best says, it was either a UFO or the base of a garden trampoline. Yeah, it did look like that, didn't it? It did look a bit like a trampoline, a circular flat structure, but it had the rails around the outside. Yeah, and I put a LMAO on there. Same video, Munchie says, I'm new here and I really enjoyed that, but I've got to be honest, I never knew about it, but I do now. But, by the way, I'm no skeptic by any means, lol. Oh, thank you, Munchie. I hope you enjoy it. More of this channel. I really do. Thank you for tuning in. A lot of people haven't heard about this. It's not a very well-known case. It's very old. It's very obscure. And it's, unfortunately, because so much time went past, it never really came to anyone's attention until a member of the family wrote into a newspaper about it in the 60s. There wasn't really a chance to do any kind of research. It's possible there are people in the area who still know more about it. I'd actually love to go back there when the weather's nicer and talk to more people. Same video, Neil Peel. Probably in the skeptic world, both sightings would be referred to as a lighthouse. Oh yeah, the lighthouses. Then Gary Robinson says, definitely an ice cream van on fire being pushed down a hill by kids. Yes, that's a reference to Rendlesham Forest. David's Splendid Isolation says, a proto-flying saucer. In later decades, the occupant still visible, has moved inside the vehicle. It could be. Do you mean it's like one of those, you know, those things that in the Winter Olympics you have like the bobsleigh with a big where people sit inside this big vehicle with a lot of structure to it. Then you have the luge, which is like it's just like a sort of tea tray with runners, isn't it? And they go to the track. So you could say that possibly the Algebra platform was like an early flying saucer. Pop's just an experimental model with just a small thing, and then they eventually upgraded it to a big vehicle, which people sit inside, because early cars were like that. Yeah, they were kind of like you almost sat on top of them rather than in them. Yeah. And Neil Peel said no, they learned it because it always rains there. Yes. If the weather in 1916 was anything to go by, I think they probably, those poor little Nordics would have got their little sailors' hats rather sogging. Helen Tucker says on the Algebra platform, that was great, fantastic story for Mrs. Whiteland. Such a typical British day out, weather-wise. Nice one, Ben. Thank you, Helen. I'm glad you like that. Thank you. Same video, Be the Truth says, if there is an actual physical threat, if there is an actual physical threat, then the mainstream media and its masters would yell at you, everything is fine, people, lol, is the way it is, but nothing more profitable in dollars, blood, and loosh than a good, for us usually bad, created crisis. You're a little bit incoherent, Be the Truth. You don't use any punctuation in your sentence structure is a bit off, but I understand what you mean, and you're absolutely right, yeah. They are the threat and the dopes that uphold and follow. That is a fine and interesting story on the Craft and Crew, the Algebra platform. Thanks, I'm glad you liked it. In the early 1900s, and I recall coming across this years ago, and now I will delve back in. Thank you very much, love, and all. Oh, thank you, Be the Truth. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Have a look up. There's several references. I first read about it in Janet and Colin Board's book Modern Mysteries of Britain, which I thought it's a very good book. It's out of print, but there's loads of second-hand copies online, so it's worth getting. Sinara's Ashtree says, how fascinating. Thanks, Ben. Oh, you're very welcome, Sinara. Much appreciated. I'm glad you like that. I know you like these sort of rural countryside things, so that's really great. Same video, Steve071. A nice little jaunt out. Shame the weather turned on you. Oh, I know. What he is, isn't it? Diego Rivera to Genius to the Real Genius said about the Algebra platform. Looks like a kid's roundabout. It does, doesn't it? Yes. That's actually a pretty good comparison, actually. And I put on a community notice here saying, talking about the possibility of doing an emergency live stream for the Facebook outage. Sonaris actually says, okie dokie, Ben. Just to let people know, I did then put up a notice, and Tina says, thanks, Ben. Is this the end of civilization as we know it? And I said, bloody hope so, if civilization means Illuminati rule. Yeah. But a lot of people, I think, thought civilization was coming to an end as a result of not being able to go onto Facebook. The Algebra platform, nothing as it seems, says, I find it interesting that she picked up on the century-old energy signature with dowsing rods. Yes, that lady, that's interesting. That dowsing lady was there, yeah. And nothing says underneath in reply to his own comment. I located an underground stream which the owner was aware of with my dowsing rods. When you are given a response, it's quite striking, and I was trying to figure out what talent of mine should I exploit forward. Yeah, a lot of people, people use water diviners, don't they, which are like dowsers. And some people, use water diviners to find water and sometimes oil. Oil companies use them sometimes. Now, they're obviously generating results, aren't they? Algebra platform. Dr. Keith said here, all secretive and undercover looking. Well, I think we weren't very secretive and undercover. I mean, we were standing out in the street. It's like, if that's what you mean. Then again, I come to these community notices about the Facebook emergency live stream. Helen Tucker says, looking forward to it. Oh, well, I hope you enjoyed it, Helen. I hope you did. And I put here, I've decided that I will do the live stream. Stand by for the vid notice, and I put the vid notice up. The Algebra platform, unwashed and somewhat slightly dazed. That's not to be confused with unwashed. Says here, it reminds me of the Star Trek film where the Federation is watching a primitive society from behind some fancy camouflage tech. We glitch in their viewing platform system, our overlords lording over their experiments. Well, you know something, unwashed and somewhat slightly dazed? That could be exactly what this was. It could literally be that. I don't know. Okay, Facebook outage emergency live stream. Kaseri Lani says here, it's a link here to a YouTube video. Video unavailable. The account's been closed. So whatever that link was is Kaseri. It's gone. The channel's gone. Facebook outage emergency live stream. Brenda Countrywide says, had to leave. Can't keep wasting time. Get on with it. Oh, shut up, Brenda. I did. I got it. What do you mean I didn't get on with it? For God's sake, it's a live stream. I was talking about it and answering people's questions at the same time. You don't have the patience, then go and watch Normality. Go and watch cat videos. Go and watch unboxing videos. And Louis James says, F off then, we don't care. Precisely. And now we have a thread on the Facebook outage live stream. Cosmic Claire. Hi, Cosmic. Claire, how you doing? My internet connection has gone down 4 times since I started watching this, and I'm only 12 minutes in. All right, Claire. I mean, I don't know if that could be something at your end, or it could be, again, some kind of control of the internet being attempted. Ed Kaler says, what are you implying? Claire says, there's a lot of jiggery pokery going down with the internet. Yeah. Ed Kaler says, probably a coincidence. David Smith says, impossible. It must be the New World Order takeover enacting their evil plans. Well, it was possible, David. Now everything Q has said can be proven true. Also, probably not. Well, what Q has said is some of it is provably not, because when Biden got in as president, that's obviously not part of the plan. However, David, I did think, and it was possible that was the New World Order taking over. I mean, this is what you would expect to see. If there was going to be some kind of push in either direction, either by the good guys or the bad guys, you probably would see some kind of social media shutdown. And indeed, that's what I suspect this was. How am I doing for time? Oh, 8 minutes remaining. Okay. It's like this isn't going to be. I don't think this is going to go past 3 hours. I know, and David Smith, of course, is being sarcastic here, but that's what it could have been. Now, of course, it wasn't. Everything went back to normal, unfortunately. But this, at the time, I thought that might be it. That might be it. And if it happens again, I'll do the same thing again. Cosmic Claire says to Ed, of course. Why didn't I think of that? No. I don't know if Claire's being sarcastic there. Charles from Project Camelot. I love my job. Of course, Charles, it was your organisation again, wasn't it? Yeah. As always, it's always your organisation. Same video, Discerning Consciousness podcast. Thanks, Ben. Thomas Sheridan has a very interesting take on the Facebook outage. And, I saw he put up a video. I haven't actually looked at it yet, but I will do. Louis James says on Facebook outage emergency live stream. Great upload, Ben, as always. Oh, thanks, Louis. It wasn't an upload, it was a live stream, but thanks very much. Ed Kaler says on Free Will live stream. Is that a landline phone? Is this? Oh, this might have been me, because I did actually answer the phone in one of my live streams. Yes. What's this? Oh, Ed Kaler. Where is it? This here. Oh yeah. Yes, it was. This happens occasionally. And Ed Kelly says, "Oh, you answer that." Yeah, I sometimes have to keep the phone on. I don't have it at the moment. This is a recording. It's just, well, if it rings, I'll just pick it up and edit it out. But the problem is I have to sometimes take calls from work, so that's it. That's how it goes. Facebook outage live stream, Tessa 11111, so 1111 4 ones. Can I call you Tessa 4? Maybe it was a gain function to observe the ingenuity of people to communicate without internet social media. Bet it's been stored with names and addresses. It may well be Tessa 4. Yeah. No doubt social scientists and people like that will be watching the reaction regardless of its causal element. And Tessa 4 says underneath, the Babylon 5 remake sounds like a poor plan as well. Right, Babylon 5 was actually not a bad series, but remake, you know what remakes are like. I'm still wondering whether to go and see the new Dune movie. If I do, of course I'll do a roving report, yeah. Will Michelle says on Facebook, hi Ben, go on to Project Camelot. Very interesting interview with a lady called Kim. She gives the reason for the internet shutdown and many other answers on the dark side running the world. Bit complicated, but hang in there. Keep your chin up, mucker. You're a good man. All the best, Will, East London. Thanks, Will. I will check out Project Camelot as well. I know there's a lot of people who have been commenting on this, and a lot of what they have to say is very interesting. Of course, everything went back to normal, but it could happen again. And now we have Betty and Barney Hill's 60th anniversary live stream. HQCom S65 says, hi Ben, the love LUV from Glastonbury. Hi HQ, how you doing? Charles from Project Camelot. Pride and dignity. Pride and dignity to you too, matey. Patrick Patel says on Betty and Barney. This is a link. What's this?
Hero to Lost.
The avalanches since I left you. Has this got a skip button? Oh, some guy's getting a cold off this. Oh dear. Oh, it's sort of like a weird 4-minute. I don't have time to watch that now, but I don't know what that is. It looks like a music video. The little guy is you with hair, and David Icke is the big guy showing you the way out of the Matrix. Haha. Let's have another look at that. Hang on. Yeah. He does look a bit like me with black hair. Yeah. I think the big guy looks a bit like Thomas Sheridan actually, but well, the point is well placed, Patrick. Yes. Very well observed. Betty and Barney, another. I've got another link here from Tim the Pigeon Master, and he says, he says here, for you, this was made. What is it? Some music, I think. It's the eyes of the falcon. All right. Music in this video. All right, I won't play any more of it. Just don't want to get a third-party strike. But all right, thanks. I'll check that out. I'll check that out, Tim, another time. Okay. No, thank you. Oh, I start to feel a bit tired now. But you know, I'm actually nearly over through the YouTube ones, and so I'll get this to I'll do this to the end, and then take a break. It's going to be a one-parter anyway. Ooh. Facebook live stream. Dark Corners UK. That's a good name. Says here. Forgive me if I'm mistaken, but I vaguely remember yourself and Gareth on one of his final Mindset podcasts stating that after C word, the governments of the world would introduce new restrictions as a way to continue oppressing their people. Yes, I did. And it seems to be happening, doesn't it? Suddenly, September 2021 comes around and there's a limited supply of petrol and diesel. Once again, talk of food shortages rears its ugly head. Something else you predicted, I believe. With some mainstream media outlets claiming the country could run short of pork products in the next few months, which may lead to mass slaughter of our remaining pigs. Thoughts? Yes, Dark Corners, isn't that true? Yes. It's just you spotted that, because I do remember myself saying that, and I'm glad you noticed as well that at some point probably they would change strategy. Indeed, it seems that is happening. So, we'll see what happens. They're obviously now introducing a new strategy, and we'll have to see how that goes. Obviously, I'll cover it on this channel when it happens, but thanks for your insights. Oh, here's an old one, Super Saturday live stream. Super Saturday, I've never read that comic. Kevin Green says, for those who are keen to speak disparagingly of Mr. Crowley, as Aleister Crowley, I'd like to offer a little advice from the man himself. Quote, never meddle in the affairs of wizards. It makes them soggy and difficult to light, unquote. Oh, that's good. Thanks. I'll bear that in mind, Kevin Green, if I ever encounter the ghost of Aleister Crowley, which I may well have done in a churchyard a few years ago, if you remember that video. Betty and Barney, nothing as it seems. Pride and dignity seconded. Yes, or seconded. Charles from Project Camelot. I dare I add a heartily stop the New World Order into the mantra. Oh, you guys are getting love hearts. Yes. Neil Peel says, Betty and Barney from the Flintstones, right? They are. It's the same names, aren't they? But the Rubbles rather than the Hills. I have here on Betty and Barney, Samantha Rebecca says here, it's exactly what I needed. New video, oh dearie me. I think this is something that I have to delete, actually. Yeah. And Charles says, it's still absolute rubbish. Okay, I'm going to have to delete this because it's an advert for something adult, which I don't want it on my channel, thank you. Don't, as the saying goes, don't call me, I'll call you. Betty and Barney, Charles says here, oops, and that's the end. I'll answer this in the next hour. Because it's right, just on time there for the next hour. Okay, I'm back again, hour number 3, which probably, the way things are going, I probably won't finish this. I'll probably finish before the end of this hour. I should start the timer, shouldn't I? Was it worth it? I don't know if it's actually worth starting the timer. I'll do it anyway. Charles from Project Camelot says on Betty and Barney Hill's 60th anniversary live stream, as long as hypnosis or regression is used in any UFO case or any UFO research, then it's going to pollute the whole damn thing. Franz Anton Mesmer was a highly unethical, manipulative, and even dangerous individual who used noxious chemicals and poisons on his subject, not the least of which was having them stand in barrels of mercury, leading to insanity or even death of his test subjects. The whole process of hypnosis was pseudoscience from its invention by Mesmer, and it's high time it was consigned to the trash heap of absolute rubbish, piffle, poppycock, drivel, balderdash, never to be resurrected again. I almost said that list of words in a Steve mumbling voice, Charles. Oh, yeah, Anton Mesmer was he was a charlatan, and he did do everything that Charles was saying. I read about him in Neil Sanders' I think it was Neil Sanders' book, or Neil Sanders' website. Neil Sanders is interesting when it comes to things like that, even though he gets a lot of things wrong. It's from his name. It's from Mesmer's name. You get the term mesmerized. Yet, I don't have the information to hand, but I think that today's hypnotic regression and things, it's very, very different to what it was in those days, Charles. And I suggest you look at what Mary Rodwell has said about the subject, because Mary Rodwell has answered many of the common criticisms about hypnotic regression, which she uses. I notice people don't. Bufora won't touch it. I know lots of other ufological and paranormal groups that won't touch it. I think that, considering the details of the case and the fact that the Hills, actually Betty especially, was very keen to have this done, would it be right to refuse her? Would it be right to refuse people like the Hills the chance to have this hypnotic regression treatment? I mean, I don't think it would. And I don't have any more information to hand on that particular subject right now. But I know there is another side to the story. We have moon landings, a third reply to Steve mumbling. We have checkpoints. Let's get it right about the Apollo landing site's exclusion zones. It's 2 kilometers above the site and 75 meters on the ground. It only applies to the Apollo 11 and 17 sites. This only applies to nations or private companies who are working with NASA on the lunar surface at the time. Nothing can stop any nation or private company landing near or going to the landing sites, ignoring the request by NASA. Well, technically, no. I mean, these are national monuments, checkpoint. They're not governed by any kind of international law, or shall I say interplanetary law. However, there are actually now individuals. There are now actually individuals and groups of people and lawyers who are working towards the possibility of having some kind of outer space treaty. Well, Carol Rosin is very keen on this banning weapons in space treaty. There's others who want to talk about, for example, the sovereignty of other planetary surfaces. This happened when on Earth, actually, when during the great age of exploration, about how do you organise the sovereignty of nations which you explore and conquer? How do you explore? I mean, obviously, the obvious answer to that is if they have indigenous populations, then they should have sovereignty, which unfortunately that was ignored at the time. But now in this particular century, that's actually being that process has been reversed, and indigenous people are getting sovereignty. However, when it comes to uninhabited lands such as Antarctica and the Falkland Islands, as you know, there's a massive dispute over the sovereignty of the Falkland Islands, which has led to a war in 1982. The Antarctic Treaty, signed in the 1950s, is possibly one that would be applied to other planets. Now, Kim Stanley Robinson in the Mars series, in this trilogy, brilliant trilogy of novels, utterly absorbing story, discusses that possibility, discusses that whole issue in that particular book. However, when it comes to these landing sites, it's been suggested, it's been proposed, I don't think it has been ratified, that these are national monuments. What's happened is NASA, I forgot the actual details, but NASA actually said something like, please, we don't want people to approach these landing sites. And that's 2 kilometers above, 75 meters on the ground. Yeah. And it's only, I didn't know it was only 2 sites. I thought it was all the landing sites for the moon landing. And it only applies to nations or private companies who are working with NASA on the lunar surface. Yeah. Nothing can stop any other nation or private company going there. Exactly. There's no interplanetary treaty at work here. So you say, let's get it right about yeah, absolutely. But you're not actually saying anything I disagree with. I think you're just clarifying the point that I made. And then Checkpoint says on the moon landings, a third reply to Steve mumbling. The Apollo crew didn't have to slingshot the moon. They could have done a direct abort, turned around and came back. The free return trajectory option was taken to buy some thinking time, save fuel, and avoid having to dump the CSM. You say a spaceship can't just turn around and come back. That's untrue, as long as it has the Delta V. All right, okay, so you mean they did have the option, after they did the translunar injection, they actually did have the option of, they had the option of a trans-Earth injection, which meant that they could simply have used their own propulsion, firstly to undo the delta V generated by the translunar injection, in other words, slow down, and then basically double it to come back. Could they have done that? Checkpoint. I might well bring that up at the next Apollo Detectives, because you know the Apollo Detectives we're doing another show. I'll just make a note of that, actually. Apollo Det, and it's the part 3 7 mins in. Okay, so, and I'll put here Checkpoint's comment. I think I'll bring this up on the next Apollo Detective show. Okay, because I'm not sure that's the case, what you just said. I'll have to have it confirmed. Bexley Heath UFO Incident Part 2 or 3. Oh, this is a lovely old one, this is. Wayne says, I hope you start doing these types of videos again, where you visit places of interest and tell us about it, as this is just yet another UFO incident I was not aware of. Oh, Wayne, I'd be glad to. In fact, I have done one. If you check my channel, I did one called the Oldborough Platform, which is very much like this. I don't do it on my own. I do it with the East Anglia UFO group. But I do exactly that. I visit a place where a UFO incident happened. So please do check that video out. I hope you enjoy it. I will try to do more of them. Yes, indeed. I'll give you a love heart for that. And part 1 of 4 of the same series. I hope you start doing these types of videos again. All right, yeah, I will. And she's just repeating the comment there. I will do indeed, Wayne, and I have done already lately. Dr. Keith says on the Facebook outage emergency live stream. Emergency live stream from Ben's single room apartment. Correct, Dr. Keith. I don't know if you're trying to make a point there, but that is a factual case. Pray silence, please. Attention on deck. We have the return of Steve mumbling. After a long silence, The Beast from Oz is back. What does he have to say? It's the Betty and Barney Hill 60th anniversary live stream. No one is interested in decades-old science fiction stories. Well, I am. I love Arthur C. Clarke. After the flurry of activity when the Pentagon UAP report non-event happened, the UFO ET business has died in the arse. That's a weird Aussie expression, eh? It's only the car and bedsit dwellers that are desperately trying to keep it alive. Everybody else has lost interest. That is a slight exaggeration, Steve. Now, it's true, unfortunately, since June, there's been a cooling off, hasn't there? Maybe, I think John Greenwald said this would fade away, and it does seem to be fading away. Because of the UAP report, as you know, I covered it extensively on this video. It was this ridiculous little 9-page just saying really nothing. It had a few interesting tidbits in it, but it didn't say an awful lot. So, unfortunately, that's true. However, I know what the reason you think that is because you say decades-old science fiction stories. You think there's nothing to it, and that's why it's how do you put it? Died in its arse. Well, it has declined. It hasn't gone away, but it has returned to a low ebb. It's ticking over at the moment. Things could happen that could change that. If you watch UFO Jesus, Post-Disclosure World, he always covers, he has very interesting ideas on that. So does Richard Dolan. We're not, I don't know why you mean by car and bedsit dwellers. I don't live in a car, I live in a bedsit. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Is that a bad thing? Is that a criticism? Am I desperately trying to keep it alive? No, I'm trying. I don't think I need to. I think it is alive. I'm commenting on it when commentary is necessary. And at the moment, commentary is not necessary because there's nothing more to say, really, since the end of June, because that UAPTF report is just sort of like it's just come and gone. It didn't say it was a bit of a damp squib. Now it wasn't a nothing burger like some people claimed it was. There were some interesting bits in it, but it was really kind of a rehash of the old Condon report, really. And that's what sort of bloody 50 years later, 53 years later, they're rehashing the bloody Condon report. That's really all it was. Now, don't forget there was a confidential report released to Congress. The Congress people are now poring over that. At some point, there's going to be some kind of development at some point, Steve. Indeed, there probably will be a leak, as Steve Bassett has predicted. So it may seem like it's died in the ass right now, but I think that's a temporary situation. And Charles says underneath, where was this flurry? Because nobody outside the UFO bubble seemed to know about it. Well, Charles, I mean, I think, of course, it was within the UFO bubble, as you call it, that it was mostly talked about, but it was very widely distributed. Very widely distributed indeed in the mainstream media. I was impressed, actually, with the coverage. We got now Checkpoint on Russian Roswell replied to Steve mumbling. Checkpoint says, wrong buttons for the uniform for the time. There's your mistake and proof of a hoax. No, it's not. I think you'll find that actually I can't remember the details, but several people have analysed this, including some debunkers, people who debunked it. Not debunked it, debunked other things, and said that the kind of criticism they apply to other videos cannot be applied to this one. And it's not, even if some things are not quite in order, it's not proof of a hoax. Dr. Zayas on Planet of the Apes doesn't try to see if the paper plane will fly because he already knows its will. That's the point. He knows man once ruled the world and destroyed themselves with technology. Geez, you missed the whole point of the film. Well, it was a quite easy point to miss because it was a quite easy film to miss. Checkpoint. I must say I'm not a fan of that movie. I'm not. I think it's a little bit. I think it's a bit of a. I think it's a little bit. It's rather plasticky actually. I don't think that film's terribly good. I mean, the original was passable, but the sequels are bloody awful. But maybe that's why he did it. Yeah, maybe that's why he did it. I've got someone Russian. Nikolai Vishrov. I can actually read Russian now because, as you know, I think I've taught. If you read HPANWO voice, you'll know I'm learning Russian. Это мама, не Марин, Ja, Ben. Yeah, I've only learnt a few phrases, but I'm learning Russian for reasons I explain in the article, and for reasons that I will go to into in a future video. But Nikolai, I'm quite impressed now. I can actually read, because it's a different script. It's a Cyrillic script. I know the symbols of the Cyrillic script, so I'm well on the way. Nikolai Vishrov wants to proposition me for money, and I'm turning him down. Oumuamua live stream, another old one here. We have Charles from Project Camelot saying, "Okay, Ben, this is absolute rubbish. This absolute rubbish being put out by Avi Loeb, who's not a real scientist. He's looking for funding by donations from gullible half-wits who want to believe. If he were, then he wouldn't be blocking and banning real scientists like Sabine Hossenfelder from reporting on his pseudo-scientific drivel on his publications here. Has Sabine done something about this?" Hang on. Hang on. Can physics be too speculative? All right, I've not seen it. I do follow Sabine, but I've not seen this one. But what about, what were you saying about Avi Loeb? I'll watch this in a, hang on.
I was contacted.
Hang on. All right. Does Sabine actually do something about Oumuamua? Let's have a look. I'll just put in Oumuamua. Oh, she does. False alien discoveries. Oh, I watched this and she's wrong. Oh, but she's got another one. I watched this other one, but I watched Sabine's other video about Oumuamua, and she was completely wrong. I think I actually may have mentioned it. She takes this debunking skeptical angle, a bit like Mick West. No, I'm not against her. I mean, some of her videos are really good because they're about real science, you know, and not this sort of debunking stuff. But as for Avi Loeb, he's not a real scientist. He's trying to raise money for what? Gullible half-wits like me. Let's have a look. Avi Loeb. Here we go. Israeli-American theoretical physicist who works on astrophysics and cosmology. Okay, so if he's a theoretical physicist and not a scientist, he's not a, what do you call him? He's not a real scientist. What is a theoretical physicist who's not a real scientist? Perhaps you could explain. That would be very interesting. I mean, he's done the Galileo project, but I mean, so is the whole Galileo project just a grift to raise money? Is it? Well, from what I gather, that's not the case. I've listened to him talking about it, and he's drivel in his publications. I know he's suffered from enormous criticism for what he said about Oumuamua, but hang on, what he said about Oumuamua makes sense. Its shape, the fact that it's not a hydrogen iceberg and things like that. So could you give me a bit more detail, Charles, about what your problem is with Avi Loeb? Because I actually read his book. I reviewed it for UFO Truth magazine. I was very impressed by it. Let's see what has to say about it, though, and whether she actually says something. Because, like I said, she annoys me. Her skeptic angle annoys me. But I will watch her video, all right, and see what it says. The Aldborough platform. Charles says, "Okay, this is absolute rubbish. It wasn't floating, flying, hovering, or any combination thereof. It was the ground that was moving, strangely causing an optical illusion for anyone looking up at it." Oh, so you mean it's like well, you mean it's like the sun and the moon which appear to move, but it's the Earth that moves, yeah. But I think in this case it wasn't. I mean, this was something low down. I mean, it's been described. I mean, I know how high up it was because it was roundabout on the level of the chimney pots and things like that. And I went to the location. The buildings are still the same. We're talking about maybe 30 feet. So it was floating. It was flying. Our Evans Land audiobook, part 1 of 5. What time frame? Steve071 says, what time frame is the story set in? It's in a kind of affected future. It's a futuristic story, but a lot of the 20th century or sort of late 20th century various things have been kind of resurrected artificially by this regime. Suspend your disbelief, Steve. I'm actually working on a text version of this. So I've actually recorded the first chapter, so I am making progress. I know I've been sort of procrastinating a lot with it, but I am making progress now. I hope you enjoy it, Steve. I really do. I've got mixed feelings about it, but it's still my debut novel, and I'm decided to preserve it. Comments 47, 1 of 2. Charles from Project Camelot. No, Charles Scott, YouTube. Oh, I'm glad we hear your side of the story now, Charles. Has been removing your links because you are a schmuck who's been going around creating fake Facebook and fake Twitter accounts using my YouTube identity to cause trouble, so I reported you to IC3 for cyber harassment. Droik much. I don't think Charles is with Team Droik, Charles, but, Charles Scott. But, you obviously guys are having a fight here. Charles Scott says I need to take his side and everything. I say that we should have some kind of tribunal to sort this out. If you two are willing, I'll organise it for you. Same video, Charles Project Camelot says, right, so aliens having sex results in a three-way, does it, Ben? Yeah, it was a speculation. Mouth stop in put and foot, rearrange those words. Yeah, I just spoke my mind, Charles. It just occurred to me that, either humans, obviously sexual reproduction can come in many forms. On Earth, it always involves two individuals, male and female. It's possible that a similar form of reproduction has emerged in other biospheres, which involve three individuals. In which case, you would have to, reproduction could only happen through where three creatures have sexual intercourse together. And I just thought that would make some interesting videos for X-Hamster, wouldn't it? Perhaps my Russian friend Nikolai might get some ideas from that. Right, 2 of Evan's Land audiobook part 2 of 5. Hi Ben, Steve071. Hi Ben, give us a plug for your Roswell trilogy and how to get them. Oh, Steve, man. Steve, there's several videos and articles explaining. Just go to Amazon. Just put in Roswell Rising, my name, Ben Emlyn-Jones, and you'll find it. Or go to any good bookshop and ask for it. It's there. There are several videos about it on my channel, and articles on the Ben's Bookcase blog and other places. So it's easy to get hold of it, and I do hope you like it. Yeah, I think it's much better than Evan's Land. I think I've matured as a writer, and it is very obvious. But it's actually, if you look at the illustration for the audio, it's actually there. You can see it. Steve071. Is the front picture on the front cover a real place in Wales or a composite, Ben? I think it's a it's a stock photo from the publishers it's a stock photo from the publishers where they designed it. The actual not the publishers, the printers actually. I self-published it. The printers, which is a bit like Ingram Spark, they're another organisation in Peterborough. They actually organised. They actually did the whole cover. They designed the cover for me and everything. It was a very good service. So it's actually pretty good. Okay, final comment on YouTube, and it's Mary Helen. Oh my goodness me! Sorry, I'm just looking at her avatar. Let's look at her channel. She's got a very nice, shall I say, a distracting avatar. However, I think this is another of these bots that give you link to inappropriate websites. So I'm going to remove that final answer. Right, that final thing. Right, let's go to BitChute. As you know, BitChute don't give notices for comments anymore. This is one of the many things they need to get their act into gear about. They also, I've only uploaded about half my stuff there because the damn uploading to BitChute is getting more and more difficult. So I'm basically going to go through the videos that I did since the last comments reply video on the 21st of September. So I'm going to cover the videos, and unfortunately I've only managed to upload 2 of them. All the others have failed to upload. But it is, firstly, we're going to deal with the Alt Tech exclusive, which is Worldwide Rally for Safety. Let's have a look and see what it says. This is a video that was not uploaded to YouTube at all. And let's have a look. Oh, I've got lots of very interesting, comments here from people. Lawrence12345 said, 42, Ben, that's 42 minutes in. Ben getting a lecture on a plant-based diet, lol. Tell that to a bruiser of a hospital porter. Great reportage as ever, Ben. Thanks, Lawrence. And Woody Black says, hey, Woody, how you doing? Paper to a paper A to Z. I know, I'm such a Luddite, aren't I? I've got a paper A to Z, yeah. I haven't seen one of those in about 10 years, probably. Great vid. It looks like it was a good event. Funny you bumped into Unwashed. I did Unwashed. I've actually been on a video with Unwashed since then. It wasn't one of mine. It was Thomas Barden-Rees. But it's on his channel if you want to go and check it. Cosmic Claire says, I videoed at the march in Leeds on the 18th of September 2021, soon to be published on my channel. Well done, Cosmic Claire. I can't wait to see that. Okay, we're now going to go to the second and only video I managed, which was the Aldborough platform, which I uploaded to BitChute. That was my BitChute exclusive. This is my Aldborough platform. And we have here, Melvin Sherman says, can you do Richard Sharp Shaver? I don't know what that is. Melvin Sherman. I don't know what that is. Only the Ghosts, that's his name, Only the Ghost says, I wonder. It does seem to be more like an object existing in two places at the same time. Maybe another time, looking back. It could be some kind of interdimensional thing, yeah. It could well be. That's what I speculate. It certainly wasn't a gondola from a Zeppelin, that's for sure. Only the Ghost said again here. Fascinating. I recall reading about this incident a long time ago. Oh, I'm glad you... Yeah, it is. A few people have come across it, but it's not very much talked about. Like Janet and Colin Board put it in their book. That's how I first heard about it. It was also published in what's it, UFO Matrix, a short-lived magazine. Very good, but short-lived magazine from Healings of Atlantis. But they did an article on it. Woden 20 said, a nice break from the crazy world. Woden, I know. God blimey. It was good to get out and about, I'll tell you, it really was. So that's the Aldborough platform. We're now going to go over to Odyssey. Now, Odyssey do provide links. They provide links, however, to comments. However, they only last about 10 days. So I haven't made... I've checked my notes. I haven't actually made a note of any, which means I didn't... I'll just double check. I didn't actually... I would have made a note of them. Notes. Here we go. UFO disclosure notes, comments, reply notes is blank, which means I haven't made a note of any. So it's possible... I don't know if I've actually got any comments. So I should have some. But let's have a look, shall we? Let's have a look at Odyssey, at my videos. Odyssey, unlike bloody BitChute, is technically much better. Uploads work. With a few exceptions, uploads have always worked. So I go to Worldwide Rally for safety. What have I got here? And I've got here... someone called Don't Have Vids. That's what he's called. And I check his channel, and it looks like... Let's have a look. And it turns out, paradoxically, he has reposted several vids, but he doesn't have any of his own. So he does have vids, technically. So that's... I think I'll sue you under the Trade Descriptions Act, Don't Have Vids. And he says here, you are not alone. And I say, thank you very much, Don't... I actually put in a text comment, but thanks very much, Don't Have Vids. Don't Have Vids says here, don't give up, man. There's millions of banshees and leprechauns watching. Oh, thanks, man. They're good guys. They're looking for watching us. Oh, please do not spam. I'm not spamming, you bloody bastard. Yeah, I'll just put... There we go. I'm not spamming. And Don't Have Vids says, God bless you. Thanks, Don't Have Vids. You too. I'll just have to put extra full stops on the end of this. Because Odyssey... If I put the same comment in, Odyssey thinks I'm spamming. I'm not spamming. Right, La Palma Volcano live stream. I'm going to finish. How am I doing for time? Oh, blimey, 32 minutes remaining. That's I don't need the timer now, I don't think. Oh, sod it. Okay, sod it. Hang on. No comments. The Aldborough platform. Each coach. Okay. And we've got at Bud. Okay. At Bud, and simply B-U-D, yeah, he says, the quiz people who would do crosswords, but they want more exercise. Yeah, that's what I thought it was like. That's what the escape room was. It was essentially it's a sort of physical LARP, or a live-action role-play, for people who just love cryptic crosswords. It was good fun, actually. I enjoyed it. Did a good thing there. Okay, Facebook outage emergency live stream. No comments. And finally, the Betty and Barney Hill 60th anniversary. No comments. Okay, guys, I'm just going to go. We're nearly done now. Can't believe it, eh? 2.5 hours and we're done. I'm just going to go back to. I'm trying to. Yeah. Well, I've got whenever you move off a page in Odyssey, it continues in a pop-up. Okay, so we now have. Let's have a look. Let's just refresh that. See what I've got. I'm refreshing YouTube now just to go through again. And Charles has put in a comment. Let me just get. I've got Sabine Hossett. Gott in Himmel. I just got her there. Let's just see what this says here. There's a couple more. So I'm actually going to. I'm actually going to go to the notifications rather than my channel notification. I'm going to the actual browser notifications. Charles says, oh, here we are. Another one? Bloody hell, you've never seemed so popular. Ooh, absolutely, Charles. It's you're getting 2 for the price of 2. And he says here, where's Charles? Oh, he says here, hang on, it's not appearing. Well, he says here, I can see it on my notifications list. It's somehow not appearing on my channel list. It says, what do you mean, second hour? I'm Charles. Nobody makes me wait. That's right. Charles has to be dealt with in the first hour or else, man. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, for some reason, maybe it's in my health reviews. Let's have a look. No, it's not. Published. Oh, for some mentions. No, I'll just do one more refresh. Here we go. See what's there. No, it's not for some reason. Okay, Charles, I'm sorry. I can't actually put a notification for your second comment you just put up. It may appear at some point. But anyway, I've seen it and I've replied to it. So, guys and gals, thank you all of you for your comments. Keep them coming. I will be doing another video sometime next week. It won't be for a few days because this weekend I'm going to a social event. I won't be filming. It's a private event. I know some people watching this are going as well. Hope to see you there. But, yeah, I do have plans for more videos. I want to get this free will one out of the way. So, Cosmic Claire, if you're watching, get your article done. I do have a little draft of it, so if you don't get your article done, I'll just have to use the draft. But I want to get it out of the way because I've got loads of notes to that, which are clogging up my page. So, free will video is coming again soon. There's a couple of other things coming soon. I'll do another UFO disclosure video when there's something to talk about. In the meantime. Tomorrow's my birthday. It's the 13th. I'm recording this on the 12th, so it's the 13th, and I won't be doing any videos or live streams then, and unless there's disclosure or something like that. It'd be great if disclosure day was my birthday. Yeah. So thank you all of you for watching. Thank you all for your comments. They've all been very interesting. Despite the people who criticise me and say that, oh, Ben doesn't like me criticising him, it pisses him off. Absolutely not. The people who criticise me and disagree with me provide the best material for my uploads. So keep it going. Keep it going. And Steve mumbling has broken his silence. So Steve, I hope you'll continue to post. And I've got to do a comments reply video to you at some time, haven't I? Yes, Mr. Greenwood. Yeah, I've got a lot to say about that because, as usual, you're completely wrong about him. In the meantime, thank you all of you for watching this 48th comments reply video on HPANWO TV. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, stop the New World Order.